What's the question?
Where have I been?
More like what happened, Mr. Black.
I don't know. I mean, I could venture a guess, but I think it would sound like a rationalization, some sort of a cop-out. That didn't come out right.
Hello, everyone. I know it's been a while since I've been on YouTube, not intentionally. There's just been a lot going on in the background. And sorry, Fly Highland. I don't know what would have, but I'm glad you're here. There was a super chat. There have been a few super chats real quick. I want to get to those first, and then we'll get into the discussion. So Filbert, thank you for the $10. He says, dumb question, but in your old Real Ghostbusters video where you open the ectoplasm lid and have the camera facing you, why did you use a Cool Whip lid instead of just the lid from the Well, we're starting off on a 1,000-mile-an-hour level of I don't know what tonight. This is going to be a good show. Filbert, if that is your real name. You see, when you're doing a camera effect that requires the camera to be inside a container, you've seen the ectoplasm containers, right? And you know they're vintage and valuable and very small. And so when you're devising a shot to cut to, in this case, you acknowledge that you open the ectoplasm lid and have the camera facing you. The camera had to be inside the container for the illusion. Does that make sense? So it had to be something big enough, and also something that I had where I didn't have to destroy, because even if I destroyed the ectoplasm container, it wouldn't matter because it's not big enough to do the camera effect from the underside. Filmmaking 101, man. Let's see. Master Son, thank you for the $2 super chat. The show must go on. Yeah, well, sorry, I was running a little behind. Trying to snarf down a croissant. All right. I feel like there's one more here. Yes. Wayfaring Smuggler, thank you for the super chat. He says, hey, Michael. Hello, sir. It was great to meet you at DragonCon this year. Great to meet you as well. Quick update on my OTC Falcon. The replacement stickers are $5, while the boarding ramp struts are $40 for original, $18 for repro. Dude, with the OTC, I would get the originals. Don't cheap out right now because those originals are only going to get more expensive later. Like, if you want those boarding ramp struts for the OTC, and that's the only thing you're missing aside from stickers, get the originals now. Don't dither around with repro for OTC. It's too soon. It's too soon. Okay. Let's see. All right, so we're caught up. All right, so yeah. Right, Fauntleroy? I mean, yeah. I know. Why didn't I think of that? Okay. Okay. So, first off, as I'm realizing that I totally forgot all the mystery boxes upstairs. So at some point during this live stream, I will have to go upstairs and grab all of the mystery boxes to open tonight. Sorry about that. All right, so here's what's kind of been going on. So I had to basically last month in let's say that wouldn't be August, it'd be July. So we're talking about July. So in July, I found myself suddenly needing to start pulling out things and trying to sell stuff because, as you can see in the background here, if I go the right way, you see in the background there, like that's a lot of chaos. And that chaos stems from the fact that I just have, so I move my microphone. I've reached DEFCON 5 or 1. I've got too much stuff piling up in the studio. So I needed to get going on getting a lot of that stuff dealt with. Well, in the process of doing that, there was an opportunity that came my way for next year, and it was going to be kind of a monetary outlay. So I was dragging my feet before that, trying to get this sort of like selling operation up and going. And when I did, right around that time, this opportunity came up that I don't want to miss out on. So I'm trying to raise funds with the stuff that I no longer have need of to make that happen. But it's a constant start and stop. So it's like, well, some days you don't sell anything and you're free to just start working on a video. I've got a completed script right here for a video that I need to do, and I haven't finished recording it yet because all of the Are you new here? Oh, I'm smelling new here. So Brian, so to answer your question, there's a little bit of a multi-pronged approach going on here. It's not specifically eBay. I am working through Reclaimers Vintage Toys. He's helping me out trying, because he has a very solid following of vintage toy sellers. So they are they're effectively helping me kind of like move stuff on consignment to an audience that's already established. Now, the reason that I did that was because apparently there's been a problem in vintage toy sales on eBay lately where, and I find this to be pretty interesting. Matt from Reclaimers was telling me about this recently, is that good to see you, Master Nash. Good to see you. Is that are you saying as a seller or as a buyer? Because as a seller, I learned from Matt that a lot of buyers are kind of like pulling a scam because eBay doesn't have the contingencies in place to protect sellers, and so you get a lot of dishonesty on the buyer side of things. And so it doesn't happen so much with modern, it just happens with vintage. And so what I'm trying to do is sell the vintage first through Reclaimers and other places, with eBay being kind of a last resort. That's kind of the reason that I'm actually keeping the eBay name sort of invisible, which I know sounds counterintuitive. You're trying to sell stuff by a certain date and whatever, don't you want to like make those sales happen? Yes, but also I'm very concerned about buyer dishonesty. And so especially if they knew for a fact that it was me selling stuff and they didn't like me or something, I could see them being dicks about it. Well, Eric, I'm not opposed to selling the flag. It's just something that I can't ship, and it's something that it would take me borrowing a friend's truck to take it somewhere to deliver it to somebody. I'm not opposed to selling it at all. It would just be a big deal, literally, to do, because the sale would come with the plinth, because I have the wooden plinth for it as well. So that would, but I want to be clear, okay? I'm not getting out of toy videos. All right. I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I'm saying here. All right. I'm not getting out of making toy videos. I'm just trying to offload some things that I've already used in videos that I know will probably never get used again, and moving them along to try and make up the difference for this cash that I'm trying to raise. So last call with Troy Pacelli. Thank you so much for the super chat. Contribution to the Big Opportunity Fund. Oh, you're very kind, sir. Can't wait to listen to your show tomorrow night. Let me see here. So, yeah, sometimes they do. And sometimes you find yourself in a unique scenario. I'm not selling Star Wars stuff, and even if I was selling Star Wars stuff, Viceroy, there is no way in hell that I would sell on Imperial Commissary. There is absolutely no way. I think that guy is a psychopath. Thank you, Jason. Did somebody say Kylie Fund? Thank you, Logic Blaster. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I haven't really said, not because it's anything. The reason I'm not really saying is not because it's some sort of deep, dark secret. Like, I'm not about to go on some month-long strip club pub crawl or anything like that. It's more simply because my audience knows that I don't. The reason I'm doing this way is because I don't rob the production money and revenues. Like, for example, Patreon dollars. Patreon dollars keep the lights on this channel and help me make the videos for all you guys to enjoy. I would never go in and borrow from that money, which is modest, but it could be helpful, but I'm not going to do that. I would never borrow from that money to do something personal, if that makes any sense. So, because one, it would kill the channel. It would just, because the channel would have no money to keep operating, because I literally have to buy lights and hard drives and all sorts of incidentals all the time because things happen. So in order to make this happen, this doesn't count. And I have to run over here and devise a plan and then act on that plan to do it, because this is a personal thing for me. It's not anything to do with the channel. It's not anything to do with the video production. I hope that makes sense. But I will, you guys will eventually know what it is. It's not anything scandalous. It's not anything, like eyebrow raising. It's just right now I'm trying to see if I can make it happen. And if it doesn't, then I don't want to talk it up too much, because, fate will hear me and say, nope, not going to happen because you talked about it too much. Yeah, if only that was an option, but even that sounds dark. Good to see you, Ra. Good to see you, man. Thank you. Great seeing you too. It's always great. It's always great to see you, man. It's not a live stream if you're not here, honestly. You and Don Miles and Jason Anderson, like, if you guys aren't here, I mean, it's just, see what you did there, Wolfwood, and I like it. I like it. Will you make a video about your thoughts on Superman that's basically a sequel follow-up to your earlier one? Yes. Hold on. Speaking of Superman, as if his ears were burning, this man right here, Michael Bailey, dear friend of mine, he is the Superman mega mind. Any questions I have about Superman, I would put to him first. And so when I do finally see the movie, I will be having a discussion with him. And then at some point, I know he doesn't really, he is talked out about the latest Superman movie. But at some point, I need to get him on the show to talk about something related to comic book superheroes. I don't know what it's going to be yet. At DragonCon, I floated the idea of maybe like Ambush Bug. I was kidding, but he's like the guy. So at some point, I hope Michael and I will be able to do a live stream together and talk through some of these topics. But to answer your question, I will be doing a video, but I'm waiting for the disc media to come out, which I know is like another month or two away. I would prefer to do that because that way I can actually bring clips in and stuff like that for my video. I don't really see the point of racing out there and doing a movie review when all these YouTubers do is just run the trailer in silent loop in the background. I'm not really big on that. I'd rather have the full thing to kind of sit there and digest and look at, and then you know, do the video on. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to do, I shouldn't say supposed to, I aspired to do a video retrospective on Superman Returns before the release of the movie or around the time of the release of the movie, but it just didn't come together fast enough. I was busy. Rogue One went into extra innings, and then I had to catch up with other videos. But yes, I do plan to do a video. It's been kind of nice downsizing and curating to only keep my true favorites while not having to worry about exactly, Caleb. That's what I've been wanting to do, and that's what I'm in the process of doing. Modern stuff that I'm selling is going off on eBay immediately, or going out to eBay immediately. And I'm selling those things kind of like almost at fire sale prices, mostly in large lots. And I do every week, like, lower the prices on things that, you know, haven't necessarily sold well yet or anything. However, my starting prices are always really reasonable. So I've been doing that with the modern stuff and non-toy stuff. Modern stuff and non-toy stuff has pretty much been going up on the eBay page. And then the vintage stuff goes to reclaimers on Instagram. Hi, Michael. Hope all is well. Hey, Carl. Nice to have a Friday morning stream here in Oz. Avoid the hassle of eBay disputes for as long as you can. Worse than getting a Kickstarter delivered. Oh, good advice. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Really, truly. Thank you. Let's see. What is it I'm kind of over? Well, this gets into, thank you for asking, Tim. This gets into the, no, it's not a 1-1 scale Kylie robot. Although if there was one of those, it would not be used for what you think it would be used for, because that's not why I love Kylie. Not at all. Yeah, I don't know how I would react to a 1-to-1 Kylie doll being available. I don't know if I'd be upset or if I'd see possibilities for an amazing display in the studio. Michael is buying the headpiece of the staff of Raw, but he has no concern. He has concerns. So this gets into the whole DragonCon thing, Tim. So thanks for asking. Let me answer this real quick. Yes, Alex, the Robin Hood documentary is not dead. I've just got to coordinate getting to England, which is expensive. So Green Arrow's cool. Not really familiar with the comic book content, but I like Green Arrow. So at DragonCon this year, and I think you guys who are toy collectors are going to find this pretty interesting. DragonCon is this really, really big, you know, pop culture, comic book, sci-fi, fantasy convention. It runs for basically 5 days, 24/7, because it's not at a convention center. It's at 6 hotels in downtown Atlanta, all day, all night. And you run into a lot of people there that you might only run into once a year. So you're always having these, it's a big social event. They have panels and celebrities and autographs and a vendor hall and everything like that. But just from being an individual there, I'm constantly running into people who either I'm friends with that I only get to see once a year, or they're people that know me from RetroBlasting or possibly some other hobby I've had, and they strike up a conversation, everything like that. So the weirdest trend happened this year with the conversations that were started by a lot of different people who approached me to introduce themselves, shake my hand, who were RetroBlasting supporters. I've kind of stayed away after yeah, I've made some snarky comments in like Man-Child News recently and some other things, always kind of keeping the pressure on Hasbro a little bit and the toy industry in general. But I was always used to taking flack for that. Like, as anybody who's a longtime follower of the channel will tell you, I always end up taking flack for making those statements. And in this case, did my internet go out? In this case, what happened was people were coming up to me, multiple people, like it wasn't just one or two. It had to have been at least 7, 8, 10 over the weekend, which is a lot when you consider that they start their conversation with, I've had it with Hasbro, I've had it with Modern Toys. People were coming up to me and saying things like, the Snowcat, the classified Snowcat was the last straw. And I just wanted to tell you that you were right all along. And I'm like, thanks, you know. And they were saying, you know, the latest Star Wars HasLab with that clone trooper drop ship is an example. Some of them were just talking about the collector prices for modern and the quality going down while the prices are skyrocketing. But it seems like, and I don't want to speak too soon, but it seems like there's this tide that's been turning. So to answer your question, Tim, while I'm grateful for what they were saying to me, I've kind of hit my limit with fandom behavior, like fan communities on social media. Like they're all emotionally hype driven to the point that they say they want positivity, but they just spend all their time abusing people who don't agree with them, which is not positive. And then miraculously one day, they finally wake up and the tide for them turns or whatever. But the people that they've wrecked along the way, they generally don't circle back and provide those people with any redemption, if that makes any sense. Because when you operate on common sense, you can't make any guarantees that the things that you're saying from your perspective are 100% ironclad. But what you can say is, I know for a fact that I've seen these patterns before, and I know I'm not going to be 100% wrong in what's about to happen here. It's only a matter of time. And that's kind of where we are with it right now, it feels like. Based on the interactions that I had at DragonCon with people, that's what I'm feeling. But I'd love to get you guys' input. Also wanted to say I followed your advice on the first few episodes of Rascal. Oh, good. The show has landed smooth. Yes, it's. Oh, I'm so glad we're past that idol band arc. It just went on too long. So I'm glad that you held in too, because I thought I was going to bail as well, but I didn't. Well, thanks, Wolfwood. I appreciate that. Still in my possession, still not running. Don't have the money right now. Needs a lot of work. Safely stored away in the garage and covered. What Jason Anderson said. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. I wish this wasn't happening. I really do, Ragamuffin. But thank you for letting us know. Jeremy Kerr, thank you for the super chat. He says, Cairo. Oh, you would? Okay, well, that's great, Michael. I will let you know when I watch that disc. Michael is never going to ask the viewers to ask their kids for money just to send them. That. See, Don knows what's up. Don knows what's going on. I think that the new Star Wars movie starring Ryan Gosling is a toss-up. It's still a Disney production. We'll see. I just wait. Ooh, the 4K comes out 23rd of September. Okay. So, Michael, that means that you and I will be talking after the 24th of September. I'm afraid to ask, what are your thoughts on the new HasLab overpriced letdown? Well, I think it's stupid considering that they've made 3, 4, 5 other variants of this thing. You couldn't get worse. And I heard that the tiers are terrible. So it looks like it might be the Rancor all over again. I actually found the first season of Andor really compelling because I like a slow burn. My favorite movie is Lawrence of Arabia. The second season I thought was overrated. I didn't think it sucked, but I thought it was way overrated and overhyped. So, you know. I don't know if you've addressed it recently, but I know you talked about it. Do you think HasLab as a concept is ultimately doomed? At this rate, I would like to believe so. What with the projects they're proposing continuing to be like, really? Why? This feels like a slap in the face. It always really has, but to see them recycle those HasLab projects like the Proton Pack and then make them $100 cheaper for general pre-order, huge slap in the face. And I told you guys they were going to do crap like that. I told you. And then to see the fans turning on these HasLabs more and more now, because the other thing I said was everybody has their limit. Even the hype guys that will beat you up for saying something contrary in the toy groups. They're the ones that want to simp for these companies. Even they have the limit that breaks them. It just so happens that they'll take a lot more abuse and deny, they'll put themselves in a mode of denial to keep going longer. It just means that it hurts all the more when they finally get their head out of their ass. But everybody has a breaking point. So I said at the start of this with the sail barge that when they funded that sail barge, they had fed the dragon, they had opened Pandora's box. And it's going to take them to close it. And so if Hasbro keeps making bad decisions that these people can't even accept and pisses them off, then it will collapse. It's a matter of time, but for how long will that take? I agree, Spoon Killer. I wholeheartedly agree. Let's see. Love the floppy disk energized. Thank you for the super chat. These discs are actually floppy. So everybody, you know the rule. You have to drink now because the floppy disks were brought up. These are silicone coasters, but I still have floppy disks. I have a big box full of them, and I've got 5 1/4 too. Melinda's working on a project with Conrad right now. They've been working on it for a year. And they want to get all the episodes done before they release them. So Melinda was editing on it today, as a matter of fact. And I'm really hoping that they get done with it soon because it looks really funny. And I'd love to see the whole thing. So hopefully that'll get done sooner rather than later. Yeah, gooning purposes for people that are just creeps. Yeah. Well, like I said, the eBay username I'm trying to kind of keep under the radar simply because I just don't want bad actors to mess with me through the eBay side of things. I don't want them to buy things and then pull shenanigans with eBay and lie and stuff like that. So I'm trying to make sure that I protect myself and other buyers in that way. It sounds counterintuitive, but yeah, Michael is selling all that stuff to ensure that the last gunship gets fun. The LAAT gunship gets fun. Yeah, you know me, George, always in Hasbro's corner. No, it's not for a move to Oregon. No, not at all. Yeah, it's not that cheap over here in the UK. You know, yeah, exactly. Yes, that is accurate, Jason. That is accurate. Oh, Brian, good to see you, man. Say hi back to your son for me. And did someone say man-child news? Why, yes, they did. News on the march. My throat's a little hoarse tonight. You'll have to forgive me. Let's see. RAF represent. Are you familiar with the channel Toy Federation? Yes, I know the guy that owns Toy Federation. I know Ryan. I am aware of him. Unfortunately, Ryan's a great guy. There's nothing wrong with Ryan at all. He's a really nice guy and he runs a great store. And I've been there several times. Unfortunately, Ryan has some associates that are not part of his business, but they do work for his business or they're adjacent to his business that have decided to make themselves real problems for me. I'm not sure why, because I certainly didn't get up in their grills. One of them I know has apparently harbored an ugly grudge with me before we ever spoke, going back to the fact that he didn't like that I made fun of the Ninja Turtles years ago in the Ninja Turtle retrospective. The other guy, I don't even know what his problem is, but he is himself a toy show organizer, and he is a massive, just obnoxious problem. So if I was to collaborate with Toy Federation, I would probably end up having to deal with the one guy who got mad about Ninja Turtles, definitely, and it'd be possible that I would have to be in the orbit of the other dude, and I definitely don't want to be anywhere near that guy. So, let's see. I'm hearing that a lot too. Ooh, okay. It sounds a lot like the same tunes from 2015 when Star Wars went to 5 POA. I agree, the tide has been turning. Oh, interesting. I appreciate you telling me that, Robert. That is very interesting. Thank you for the kind words, Chris. I greatly appreciate your Rogue One video because it sums up for me my way too complicated feelings, issues with Star Wars in '78. I might sound condescending at times. If you think you sound condescending, I'm sure you've seen the comments leveled at me. So, holy crap, what have you done, Tony? You kind soul. You did not have to do that. Nothing to see here, just a donation to the Cairo Kylie floppy disk fund. Dude, you did not have to do that, but I greatly appreciate it, and thank you so much. Really, thank you. I will, as always, keep you very much in the loop on what's going on with that and my progress and everything else. Also, great FAQ video. Loved it. Especially loved the fashion that you were wearing throughout most of the video. All the fashion, really, but especially the fashion in the middle portion of the video. I believe it came from Ramsey Street. Is that right? Yeah, I'm glad that we as channels still have the opportunity to call these common questions that we get answered the too frequently asked questions and do videos about them, because they're some of the most fun videos. I know they're sort of inside baseball, and for people who really enjoy seeing people take the piss out of the platform in addition to talking about toys. But I love videos like that. So thanks for doing that one, Tony. I took my wife, kids, and my tumor to MegaCon last year, and I wasn't a fan. Maybe I'll try it again, sans tumor, and see if I like it any better. But it might have just been the crowd. Interesting. By the way, Jeremy, how are you feeling, man? I've been meaning to send you a message after I got back from DragonCon. And I know you kind of went through hell and back. Are you doing okay? Let's see. I leaned toward collecting new stuff for a while, and then the pricing got so ridiculous that I figured, yeah, isn't it funny, Scourge, how there for all that time, people were like, no, I buy modern because vintage is too expensive. And then it's like, well, now you're buying modern for like $30 a figure just from the mainstream players, not to mention the boutique places like Mafex and Mezco and stuff, which are exorbitantly higher. At what point is vintage suddenly, more expensive? I mean, especially with the HasLabs and Mattel Creations crowd funds and stuff, there's a lot of things out there that there are very few vintage pieces at this point that blow the water out of modern prices. I mean, most of it's pretty much the same. The only difference that I've found in the selling portion of it is that modern toys have a definite, like, you know how when you buy a new car and then you drive it off the lot the first time, they call it like the drive off the lot depreciation, where your car just takes a huge value hit just for being owned. Like it hasn't even gone a mile, but it's just because it's owned, Well, I feel like that's what's happened with modern toys. Like some of those Masters of the Universe Origins figures and stuff, they were really hard to get your hands on, especially the ones that were pre-order exclusives on Mattel Creations and crap like that. And now you can't give those figures away. Like you've literally got to lose your shirt on what you paid for them just to get them gone. I mean, I basically, over the last few weeks, I've basically sold my entire Mattel Masters of the Universe Origins line collection for next to nothing, just to make space in the studio. And the money that I earned from it, which wasn't much, ends up going back into, the lost value and other items due to fees and stuff. It's wild. And I expect the same thing will happen with Black Series and Marvel Legends and everything like that. Unlike vintage, there is no return value. I think Tony actually experienced this as well at Analog Toys when he went and did a toy show. I think there was like some of the modern stuff he was just having to like give away at bargain basement prices. That's true. That's true, John. I just got done. Well, I'm in the middle of watching the new Rascal Does Not Dream season. I'm in the middle of watching that new detective one that's really funny. I just saw Summer Wars, the movie Summer Wars recently. That was really interesting. That was a good movie. And I've got a number of them in my hopper, but I haven't gotten through them. I'm still working my way through Pat Labor. So, Michael, have you seen there's currently a Ryu Hayabusa figure in the works from Amazing Yamaguchi, which is going to be done in the style of his look from the original INI? Oh, I did not know that, but that's interesting. Thanks, man. I didn't know that. I didn't know that, Star Who. Actually, Lio, the only stuff that I've got going on from that side of the pop culture fandom right now is I've learned, as I expected, I didn't go in naive, but I've learned that the Indiana Jones fandom on social media is just as bad and awful as all the others. They are really, really, really awful people now. And they used to be great, but the population has changed. The makeup and the age demographic of it has shifted, and they are all jerks now online. It's like with so many of these fandoms, there's no way, and that's something that I'm definitely over, at this point, like to Tim Hayes' original question. There is no way to effectively find camaraderie anymore with these hobbies. There's no way to find enjoyment in socializing with people who have the same interests. It always devolves into these inmates that end up running the asylums. And even in a place like Indiana Jones, where I have more than established my credibility over almost 3 decades, it means nothing. And I don't even lead with that stuff. It's just they actually put into their comments and stuff when they go at you. This latest generation of fanboys, they love to say, "What have you done for this community? What have you ever done? What are you're just here," and they get mad at you over nothing. They get mad at you over nothing, and you don't even know what you did. And then they're talking about how you're horrible and this and that, and they start gatekeeping you and want you out of the community. They'll say it out loud. Someone did it to me today. And the funny part is they're gatekeeping in their anger of alleged gatekeeping. You can't make this stuff up. Like, you can't. So I've basically gotten to the point where it's like, okay, the Indiana Jones groups are just as bad. And even though you don't lead with your credentials, they start poking you in the sternum saying, what have you done for this community? What have you ever done? Who are you? I've never even heard of you. And finally you get pushed and you go, well, I've done this, and this, and I've been here this many years. And then they'll say to you, I've never heard of you once, so whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's why I wasn't saying anything, because I knew that didn't mean anything. Fandom as a civilization has crumbled into, like, it's like Rome is burning or Sodom and Gomorrah or something. It's just bad. I'm hoping it is, Troy. I'm not embarrassed to say that. I hope it does fail. I really do. I hope people don't get screwed. Brendan Haley, good to see you, sir. When are you buying the Mess Toys Spider-Man? Are you referring Google account with a Pokemon? What are we doing here? Is that one that's based off the Marvel Capcom game? I'm not going to be buying it because I'm really not going to be buying modern much anymore. Let's see. Crystal Clear 101 is here. I've released a short showing how much cheaper the old releases of the Gunship are. It's sad. Good to know. I'll go check that out. And thanks for letting me know. Yeah, it really is sad, isn't it? Yeah, Mark, I just showed my script. I am working on videos all the time. I'm not a dead channel. I'm working on a Star Wars related toy video right now about vintage Star Wars toys. I'm also working on Top Gun versus Iron Eagle as a big sort of like deep dive analysis. I'm working on a pet project that Jason Anderson is very supportive of. And I'm working on a few other toy related videos right now. So I got a lot in the hopper. Are you working on any newer current movie projects? Okay. These people. Yep. Exactly. Oh, I know, Caleb. It's ridiculous. That's why I got out. It's why I sold everything. I sold and or have for sale everything in Motu Origins except Fisto, Jitsu, and their horses. Because you don't get rid of Fisto and Jitsu because they're awesome on their own. Oh, is it? I hadn't seen anything about it. Let's see. The only thing I think should get released in this sale barge is, is only in the States. Yeah, open it up to the world and make it pre-order. Don't make it a crowdfund. People were saying they were never going to do another proton pack despite the molds already. Yeah, exactly. They're not going to waste money after developing that. Yes, it is. Oh, last call. Thank you for the super chat. Wait, mentioning the floppy disk is an excuse to drink. How did I not know this? I got catching up to do. Thanks, man. Howdy, Michael. Hello, Imperial Bricks. Hope all is well. Been low key, wondering where you've been. I've just been selling stuff, and no, I'm not dead. I'm hoping to get started on some video stuff this weekend because I've got a script written. I've just got to start filming it. But I literally had to cut my way through my own studio and get stuff sold so that I could get to the toys I need to get to do the video. Like it's gotten that bad around here, people. And that's not a brag. It's so let's see with this Google account guy. He seems like he's a problem. Where are we, Google account? Because forget it. I'm just not going to answer your questions. You're just being combative. I swear I hate getting drunk in Michael's chats because of these floppy stuff, guys. That is not the Lego Flying Wing GPK. I have the Lego Flying Wing sealed in the box. That is the Brickmania Flying Wing, which is totally different. I saw the debacle. It's horrendous, and why would we expect anything less from Hasbro at this point? Probably George, and I'm just waiting for other news to build up. It just Manchild News entered an era where Hasbro was just, and Hasbro and Mattel and others were just kind of doing the same things every month. It was like more layoffs, more dumb exclusives, more quality control problems, more layoffs, more dumb exclusives, more quality control problems. And that's just that only constitutes part of a Manchild News segment. But I was leaving toy news out of it because of that. And then people were complaining that I wasn't talking about toys in a few episodes because these people have to have everything the same all the time. Like if you don't mention freaking, G.I. Joe or Star Wars, in every video or whatever, you're just not doing your job right. So I just backed off of it. No way, it's you that does that voice, Michael. I thought you used a TARDIS to kidnap a 1930s radio announcer to do it for you. I don't use AI to do voices unless I'm, and you can't even do that anymore. But there at the beginning of AI, when it was kind of the Wild West, on the very, very rare occasions that I needed to obviously mimic somebody that I couldn't do a perfect impression of, and only then to overlay on the pre-existing footage, say for like that Ghostbusters skit that I did in the beginning of that one live stream, then I would use it. But you can't even use the technology for that anymore. But no, I do all my voices myself. Let's see. Imagine being so weak you stay mad at someone over picking fun at a piece of fiction. Yeah, right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, Wilson. That's what I'm saying. Oh, dude, it was a revelation when it happened. I mean, the guy literally drunk DM'd me. He was that mad at me. And I was like, we've never spoken before. Like, and you clearly have an issue with me, because the first time I was around the guy in person, he was an absolute tard. And wouldn't speak to me, wouldn't introduce himself, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Why do you think it is you have so many adversaries in the toy content biz? Viceroy Joe, I have an answer for you. You're not going to like it, though. Because, see, the problem with the toy world, the toy collecting hobby, is that you guys often think that the ultimate achievement is to just be liked by everybody. You think the ultimate achievement is to be able to say, well, I don't have any adversaries. And, I really hate to break it to you, but it's not an accolade. That is not something that I would go around bragging about. As a matter of fact, I'll do you one better. Let me pull this up here. I'll answer your question. I'll answer your question more succinctly than you can imagine. You have no enemies, you say. Alas, my friend, the boast is poor. He who has mingled in the fray of duty that the brave endure must have made foes. If you have none, small is the work that you have done. You've hit no traitor on the hip, You've dashed no cup from perjured lip. You've never turned the wrong to right. You've been a coward in the fight. Point being, walking around bragging that you don't have any enemies and that everybody gets along with you, it's not impressive. It just tells me that you've never stood up for anything, even in the spaces that you operate in. And so you're not somebody to be relied upon. You're not somebody I want to invest in. You're not somebody that I want to really be around. So Michael would be retired 100 times over if he got $1 for each piece of hate mail. Yep. Drew G, where have you been, man? Making cool logos and otherwise staying out of the fray? What the heck? King Eric, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm not as rich as Tony, but I hope this helps. You're too kind, sir. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Any chance you will attend Legion's Con? I'm trying to save a lot of money right now, so probably won't. So yeah, I'm probably not going to be doing a lot of trips right now. Yeah, they messed up. They messed up with it. It started out so strong in that sense, and then they totally messed up. Do I have a favorite YouTuber? Yes, I do. It's Tony Roberts at Analog Toys. He's my favorite YouTuber, bar none. After that, my favorite YouTubers are, let me think. There's some alternative archaeology guys that I really like, but I won't bother listing those here. Obviously, Graham Hancock's official YouTube channel. Happy to name that one. I'm just not naming the other ones because nobody wants to just be judged, and I've gotten enough judgment on my takes on toys. So, and no, I'm not some woo-woo guy that's like, oh, it was, lizard people who came down and made the world, man. Like, I'm not saying that. But that it doesn't take much for people to get all up in your business. Thank you for the super chat. HasLab may keep going off Transformers alone. It may keep going, but it will be a shell of its former self if that happens. Nice to catch you as well. I hate sand. Are you warm and irritating and get everywhere? Or coarse and irritating? Can't remember what that line is. I think it's coarse or rough or something. Let's see. This secret project is the formation of a Gen X militia. Put a link in the description so that we can sign. Oh, I wish it were so. I think the big problem with new toys is speculative buyers or resellers, and most of us are getting tired for having to pay more for new toys if we don't get in there first. Yeah, exactly. And then when you decide to sell them, you always have to sell them at a massive deficit. You never get your money back on what you paid in. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate that, man. Just checking in on this. Is it still early here in LA? I want to make a red hat with white stitching that reads, Michael was right about everything. Well, we know when you see very arrogant and very, highly self-regarded former Mattel marketing directors coming out in their videos and being like, oh, so yeah, the toy industry's admitted that they've been focused on adults this whole time. It's like, yeah, I said that to you 3 years ago. And I said it to the audience 6-7 years ago. So, yeah, this is the Brickmania version. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate that. I know, right? Welcome back to YouTube. Well, I mean, I didn't want to leave, and I wasn't really gone. I was just tied up cleaning up the YouTube studio. So it was I I was working on the YouTube channel, but it didn't involve anything that puts content up, which is also a problem. So that's the whole thing. Can't argue with your assessment of modern depreciation. I also notice the drop in value when a new version of a character comes out makes the old one obsolete. Yes, absolutely, yes. Thanks for remembering that, Tim. I appreciate it. It doesn't even matter if you have done things for the fandom. I'm still the largest channel archiver for Thundercats stuff, but a lot of people still want me out of it. Yeah, it's almost like the more you do, Lio, the more they want you out. But see, the point is, I don't think that it matters that I've done things for the fandom, for Indiana Jones, because I don't lead with that. I just want to participate. They're the ones that put it to you, what have you done? They challenge you. And then when you meet their challenge and exceed it, they hand wave it away like, oh, well, that doesn't matter anyway. You know? They're almost baiting you to do that. And then when you do, it's like you've stepped into their bear trap. Yeah, those were good days, weren't they? Those were good days. Thanks for the super chat. Sounds like VTuber clout wars. Excuse me. I am certainly not trying to have a clout war at that point. But make no mistake, you can get dragged into a clout war that you want nothing to do with. Thank you, Collecting Star Wars. I will. I have it in my watch list on Crunchyroll. I haven't started it yet. Well, I would like to do some more Lego reviews, Dr. Sleep. I can't remember how well the last Lego review did, but I'm not done. I do have more. Thank you for the super chat, Matthew. Sup, Michael. Been revisiting the RetroBlasting video back catalog recently. Bespin Luke Skywalker story so far is my all-time #1. Oh, thank you very much. Do you have a video you're most proud of? I always end up, as much as I'm proud of videos like the one you mentioned, because they took a lot of work and everything like that. So, like, for example, yes, I'm very proud of my Dial of Destiny review. Yes, I'm very proud of my Rogue One review. But if you're asking me which ones I'm the most proud of, it's probably the ones that people didn't really watch all that much. And I don't know where the correlation there is, but so for example, I'm really, really proud of the one I did on Funko Pops a few years back. I'm really, really proud of the one I did for the Eternals. I'm proud of the one I did about the Spice Girls. I'm proud of the one I did for the funny ones. I love the ones like Kandagawa Jet Girls and Keijo and stuff like that. And for some reason, even though those are made to purely entertain everybody, they never quite get the traction. And so it's a very frustrating dynamic on YouTube, especially in the toy collector space, because people will tell you up and down. They'll be like, I just want positivity. I just want the feels. I just want good vibes. I just want this and that. And when you deliver on that over and over again, they don't show up. But then when you finally have a video you have to do where you have an axe to grind or you have a situation to confront, suddenly they're back watching that video and complaining that you're negative all the time. So a lot of the videos that I'm the most proud of over the years, like Tubbs is one of the ones I'm really proud of. Those videos never quite reach escape velocity. And I'm proud of like the other videos that I've done, like Guide to Making Your Ultimate Indiana Jones Figure, or Star Wars Follies, wind up NPC Structors and things like that. Like, I really put some thought and stuff into those. Really gave it my A game. I try to make stuff that's rewatchable and fun, but in those cases, a lot of them don't. I mean, think about Rogue One as an example. Rogue One took me like 6 months behind the scenes and 3 months of hard, work, editing and shooting. Rogue One is the hardest, most difficult video I've ever done. And it really underperformed. It really didn't do very well. Like, I'm still proud of it, but I always have to tell myself, well, if it's a video that I'm really excited about, it's probably not going to do all that well. Just the way it works. It's fascinating how the internet can bring out the worst in people. Some may argue that's part of the experiment. I'm starting to really believe that we might be in a simulation, Joe. I really am. Have you heard or seen of the movie Primitive War? I have not, but it sounds interesting. Ricky, thank you for the super chat. That's very kind of you. Thank you for what you do. Keep the faith. I will, and thank you for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. Oh yeah, that one's going to be fun. I cannot wait to show you that one. I think I have the let me see. I think I have the thumbnail here. So I'll show you the thumbnail for it. Because I built it way too long ago, and then I didn't do the video fast enough. So hold on, let me show you this real quick. So there's Top Gun versus Iron Eagle. I'm working on it right now. Just got to get it done. Okay. I know, right? Chappie is the GOAT. I want you to know, because of the asinine tariffs on packages, I had to pay $300 plus for the shipping of $500 plus Sentai figures. I hate it here. Yeah, this whole thing is just dumb. It's just dumb. My recommendation would hopefully be something like a Endor Luke with a removable helmet, so that he can also be Death Star dual Luke. For sure. That's another good reason to slow down modern collecting, for sure, is the tariffs. A crappy vocal impression is always better than an AI replication. I would agree. Are there any good current toy lines? I mean, good and easily available, or good and not overpriced. There, good is also relative. I have not seen any of Alien Earth. I have not seen any of that. Good evening, Mayumi. Hope you're doing well. Or should I say Mayumi-sama? Yes, I hope that you are also doing well. I believe the phrase is konbanwa, if I'm right. And if I mispronounce that, I apologize. But I believe it's konbanwa. Let's see. No, it can't. And no, it won't. Which is worse? Hasbro with their high prices and poor quality control, or Mattel whoring out their only IP to everyone up to and including their mother? You know what? It might be 6 to 1, half dozen the other, Forge. And Mattel is also running into poor quality control. So let's see. Yeah, same, Jeremy. Same. It's why I built my studio in a basement on a slab. You're welcome, Ricky. It won't be as frequently, as it was, but I'll keep making them until the engine turns over. But you're just gonna have to be patient. So, trying to please everyone always ends by pleasing no one. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Wow, I got to put that poem on my desk. It says it all. Don, that's Charles Mackay. So there you go, Charles Mackay. So Michael hates Evangelion, but I still like and watch his channel. He is honest above all else. I'm an adult, and as such, I can get that people can disagree, and that's okay. I don't go on other people's channels yelling at them because they said something about a movie I didn't like. You know how many channels are out there praising The Last Jedi, and I don't go on their channels and start hate commenting on them. Exactly what you're saying, Robert. Exactly what you're saying. Let's see. I enjoy the fact that you keep the atmosphere honest. I collect for my own self, not for others, and I enjoy what I enjoy. Thank you, Transporter. And your content is one of them. Thank you for being the man who you are. And thank you for being the man who you are. I really appreciate those kind words. Hey, Michael, glad to catch another stream. Hope you're well. I am. And everyone in the chat, while not Hasbro related, Star Wars related, have you seen the abysmal state of Legos? Yes, they're terrible. Yes, they're terrible. Thank you for bringing that up. They are awful right now. Overpriced and underwhelming. Let's see. My favorite YouTubers are those channels that recycle TikTok cat videos set to farts. Yes, I did. His name is Andrew. He's a really great guy. And I wanted to meet up with him again at DragonCon this year. And all this crap happened at DragonCon this year, and I was unable to coordinate with him. I was really bummed about it, and I'm hoping that I can correct that for next year. So I was really, really bummed not to be able to run into him again. Let's see. HasBros said they want to do another Marvel HasLab. They've given no clues as to what it might be. What's the word on the Cloud City playset? Inquiring minds want to know. I'm still at the stage where I need to finish it, and I need to do some sanding and some other work on it, which means I need to get some sort of mask, because I got to sand and prime, and then get some things. And it's all sitting staged up in my workroom. It's been there for 2 years now. I apologize for that, but some of these things, I've already filled everything. I just have to sand and prep it for camera, and it's taken too long. But the other thing that's going to help that video get done is getting all this stuff taken care of in the background, because that is going to be essential to having the space in that room. Because I'm going to have to set up like two folding tables, long end to long end, in order to put the whole thing on to show you. So it's just going to take a little bit more time. I mean, that could happen. It could happen. Crowdfunds and collector lines killed toys. You were right, Victor, and thank you for the super chat. Very kind. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. No. Graham Hancock is not more biblically focused. You're only thinking about his book, The Sign and the Seal. Graham Hancock has written volume after volume after volume after volume of the antediluvian question. Fingerprints of the Gods, Magicians of the Gods, Underworld, Heaven's Keeper, Message of the Sphinx, aka the Genesis, Keeper of Genesis. There's another one in there. America. There's one about the lost history of America. There's one about ayahuasca and what that means in ancient times. Those are all not biblically based. If you only know Graham Hancock from his Signing the Seal and the Ark of the Covenant, which is a fascinating thing, and I love it to death because he's a really, really smart guy, but he's not biblically focused. I would highly recommend that you read his actual body of life's work. I think it's possible to get caps like that on our Redbubble store, Jesse. I could be wrong, but I think there's a way to get one there. The Wayfaring Smuggler, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says HasLab can make a new gunship. I've still got my LAT gunship from Christmas 2002. I'm good. One of the best toys ever made. Well, you're one of the lucky ones that has one for people that want it, because now everybody's just staggered. I mean, it's only sending the price of the 2002 one up because of the BS that they're dealing with. Quality art and entertainment is supposed to ask you to turn your brain on, not turn it off. We need more actual thinking in this world, not less. Tony from Analog. Absolutely true. They want you to fit in their little idea of what they think you should be. Yeah, with little being the operative word there. That is for sure. RetroBlasting, do you think there's too many recreations of the original Ninja Turtle figures? Yeah. Yeah, I do. Can we move on from the 4 Ninja Turtles, the 500th Darth Vader, and the 10,000th Optimus Prime? Good God. Oh, and let's throw Snake Eyes in there for good measure. Snake Eyes, He-Man, and Skeletor. Let's throw them in there too. Great to see you, Wolfie. Great to see you too. I've fallen down the Lego rabbit hole myself, especially. Oh yeah, the Speed Champions line's really addictive. Raw, go with God. Go with God. Thank you for the super chat, Torbtastic. I moved to the UK as a kid too, around the same time as you. Always enjoy your insights because I was experiencing that stuff too, especially as a Joe fan. Oh, that's very interesting. Well, I'm glad to hear from another expat, a US to UK expat. It's always good to connect with more of us. So thanks for plugging into the channel and being here. Always loved your G.I. Joe skits. Duke being a psycho and Mad Jack Global still make me laugh. Well, I'm glad that you said that because the skits aren't dead. I've got G.I. Joe videos in the hopper, you know, in the idea sheet that have been sitting there for quite a while. I just gotta do them. So, oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Not that you should become a VTuber, of course. Thank you. I really appreciate that. As much as I would love to have an animated V2 avatar to do some of that stuff, I don't quite understand the whole like Twitch streaming phenomenon thing, and I don't think I'd really do it well. If Michael ever gets to OG Gundam, he's probably going to hate what Studio Kara and apparently Hideaki Anno does with its lore in the latest show. Hideaki Anno is the kiss of death. He's anime box office poison. Although I can't honestly say that because his Evangelion has made bazillion dollars. So he's anime poison for me. Remember when Michael did that video with that guy from Infinity Equation and David Vonner discussing black representation in toys? Can't find it anywhere. It was such a great video. There's a reason that video got taken down. That video got taken down because I went into that video with immensely good intentions. And I went into that video wanting to do justice to that whole subject because, you know, those 80s characters from all those toy lines need to be, you know, like brought up. And I just wanted to see them all in a big group, you know, and talk to two people from their own unique demographic perspective about their feelings on those characters. Unfortunately, a few years later, Dave Vonner, who I was connected to at that time on Facebook because of our very positive experience doing that live stream together, he went out and just went crazy and started calling Indiana Jones racist. And it was around the time that the latest movie was coming out, which the movie was crap, but that's irrelevant. And he was basically going in hard in the paint on how everybody who likes Indiana Jones is an ignorant closet racist. And I took exception to that. I didn't confront Dave about it. What was the point? He had his weird, you know, knee-jerk perspective on that. But it was based in a lot of like, really like, wow, you're throwing that football pretty far to try and do the mental gymnastics to get there with some of these claims. But I think the reason that I took such exception to that wasn't simply because I like the character. I don't care if you come into my house and say you think Empire Strikes Back is stupid. Like Tim Witten didn't like Empire Strikes Back. He preferred Attack of the Clones as his favorite Star Wars. I didn't tell him that for that reason he couldn't be my friend. The exception that I took was that Indiana Jones is one of the biggest reasons, next to also living abroad, but it's what made me excited to live abroad. Indiana Jones is one of the biggest teachers and reasons why I am respectful and enthusiastic, not just accepting, not just tolerant, but enthusiastic of other cultures and other people in other parts of the world. The character in every instance respects their languages by speaking them. He respects their customs. He corrects other people when they're about to breach those manners. and do wrong by them. He tries to help those cultures when he can, and let me tell you, that was a huge impression on me as a child. And the biggest one is he taught me as a character to be curious about other cultures, because other cultures' histories are fascinating. It's not just people that look like me that have interesting pasts. Every part of the world has an interesting past, and they're worth chasing. So I took great exception to that. But I knew that it was an argument that wasn't worth engaging in, because he had planted his flag very, very, definitively on that. And I knew that some of those responses were drummed up from things I was posting in the run up to that movie coming out, because he could see my page. It wasn't just coming out of nowhere. So I just felt kind of like backstabbed in a way, because clearly he had been on my channel and been treated very fairly and very politely, and then he didn't provide me the same benefit in kind through our mutual connection. And so I kind of just quietly disconnected from Dave. I think he went overboard, and I think that I think he needs to reevaluate that at some point, because it's completely disingenuous, the kind of stuff he was saying. I have not watched Tanya the Evil. I have not seen that. Very likely, yes. Doing good, Hot Dog Man. Doing good. Yeah, we could, Knights of Old. Yes, we could. Have you heard of Kyle Mooney's Smash? It's on Netflix. Oh, I haven't heard of that, but I'll check it out. Thank you for letting me know, Alex. I'm looking forward to restoring a Defiant I bought with your instruction. Oh, cool. Well, good luck with that. I mean, it's a big job. I said at the beginning of the show, Grim, I'm waiting for it to come out on disc. So, no, I don't hate America, but I get where you're going with that. It's just, for everybody who doesn't know what he's saying, I just very much love being able to live in a place where I can turn a corner and see things that are thousands of years old. And you don't really get that here. So when you get it done, it will be epic on the top. But yes, hoping to get it done. Yes, I'm writing it right now. Oh, thank you, Jedi Five. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, hit the like button and leave comments or whatever in the actual video if you can, because YouTube is playing shenanigans and screwing with everybody. They're now claiming that if a viewer doesn't leave a like or a comment, that view doesn't count for the YouTuber. It's another way of YouTube to steal ad revenue from the creators. It's BS. The issue I have in my circles is that there are a bunch of people jockeying for position to be influencers, and while some of them are nice people, the sum of the whole feels inauthentic. Yeah, it's an epidemic problem, Michael. Epidemic problem. I'm glad I bought that Soul Chigokin Dragon Caesar and Daizunjin right before those stupid. Yeah, you are lucky. Stuck at work so late to the party. Just want to say hi. Hello, Jedi. And hope you're doing well. Always enjoy your work, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm glad. Thank you for being here. You're very welcome, Forge. Let's see. At this point, I recommend people get into Bondi Gunpla, either entry grade. Well, if the tariffs don't eat us alive on it first. Oh, Zantara, thank you for the super chat. Tubbs, go duck yourself. See, Zantara and I are like this. Galaxy Rangers, the Tubbs video. And by the way, I pulled up the image of that. I think I showed it in the last live stream, but I'll show it again. I found my source image for that. So I'm hoping to be getting started on that sooner rather than later. Holy crap, Jedi Fifes. Dude, thank you for the super chat. Really, thank you so much. You're sending you money just like the HasLab idiots, but at least I get something of value. Oh man. Oh, that's too funny. just so everybody knows, Jedi Fife and I did that awesome live stream about a year or two ago on Jurassic Park props and collecting props from movies and prop replicas. He's a dear friend of mine, and it's always nice to have him interact with the chat because his sense of humor and mine are like in lockstep. Thanks for being here tonight, man. I really appreciate it. Would it be true that the real reason that toys are mostly for adults is that few people are having kids now? I feel like saying this quite the black pill. Most people refuse here. Well, it's some of that, but some of that is also, you got to remember that Hasbro didn't try to fight the video game thing. They just kept aging up the toy lines and the price points. And all that really started around like 07, 08, right after Revenge of the Sith was done. And they've never stopped. You know, they've just kept aging it up, kind of like the entertainment industry just kept aging up Batman to the point where it was so dark and it was so dystopian that you wouldn't want to take a kid to it anyway. They just kept chasing those adult dollars. So what you're saying is part of it for sure, but that's more of a late stage thing that's happened. That's more of a recent thing that compounds on the overall thing, if that makes sense. I only comment on videos made by people who beg kids for money. I only hate comment on. Okay. Oh my God. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Speaking of HasLab's Studio Series 86 is releasing a Unicron next year. I wonder what mold they will use. Ooh, if they use the HasLab mold, that's gonna burn some wallets. Thanks, comics. Appreciate that, man. True, but man, it's getting harder to swallow the prices, and same as Hasbro, the quality control is getting worse. Let's see. Maybe a forbidden question, but will Broken Vader ever get his arms reattached? Sometimes I feel bad for that guy. If you knew him, you'd want to keep him away from those arms as long as possible. Prime Syndicate is here. Finally, I was so worried that you had disappeared into the ether, sir. I'm so glad to see you here. Genuinely glad to see you here. Dude, we got to talk in the background at some point, because earlier in the live stream, I talked about the state of Indiana Jones fandom on social media. What the heck is going on? Like, I feel like all the old guard have just hunkered down in bunkers, and now I understand why. It's bad out there. We got to talk sometime in DMs or something, dude. Like, really. Holy crap. TMNT is a pain as a parent. Too many scales and styles, multiple sets of turtles, no bad. Yeah. Yep. Who are you addressing? Use your words. Be brave enough to be specific. Oh, thanks, McClintock. I appreciate that. Yeah, there are more skits coming. It's just getting the videos, into production. Let's see. Yeah, I own Gunbuster. I talked about it in my Evangelion video. So, yes. Let's see. I'm not sure. You need a new one after that. You see where they can improve. Love the channel. First time being here live. Thanks, Tony. Thanks for being here. Good to have you. I'm getting into the G.I. Joe line, but I'm trying to get my hands on 3.75-inch anniversary lines like Big Ben, Cutter, Shipwreck, Heavy Duty, Roadblock, CoverGirl, and Flint Brother. 3.75-inch anniversary line. So CoverGirl and the anniversary line would have been a JoeCon exclusive, if I recall correctly. So some of those can be pretty hard to find. Just saying. Dude, who said Indy was racist? Never saw. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, you can't explain it because they'll like you said, they'll just plant that flag and go at you. Oh, really? That's good to know, Alex, because I'm about to sell mine. Did you sell your stuff separately or all as a lot? I'd be curious to find out. Right? Indiana Jones and John Rambo were my top favorite movie characters as a child growing up. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Finally get to watch a live stream after being in Panama for 5 months. My schedule makes it difficult. Thank you, Patrick. Good to see you here. Glad you're doing okay. I have not watched Alien Earth. I think I answered that earlier. Yes, on Indy, he's an interesting character. Like you said, Mike, he made history fun and other cultures interesting, that we are all the same. And yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, they do. That I think I got my original Popey Golion from a seller in, was either Indonesia or Singapore, one or the other. Yeah, but I don't do that crap, Erebus. It's an eye roll. I'm over fandoms on social media. I'm over fandoms on social media. You have to go back and listen to the when I answer Tim Hayes' question. So yeah, I don't like influencers either. And I'm glad that some people have actually yelled at me in the past. You know, a lot of people have yelled at me, but some people have yelled at me in the past saying that your job is to get us excited for things. Your job is to be positive so that we're excited for stuff. And I'm like, wow, you actually think YouTubers are supposed to advertise at you. They're supposed to influence the way you think and feel. That's messed up. Like, that's really messed up. Yeah, I'm thinking about starting my own channel not related to toys. Do you buy into any custom superpowers figures? I didn't know there were any, especially not any of manufactured quality. I'd consider it, but I didn't know there were any around. On the topic of YouTube ad revenue, watch this live stream on my iPhone. I'm getting interrupted with ads every 10 minutes before watching on my Fire Stick. And now the ads have stopped. Well, on this channel, the only ad that ever runs is the skippable one at the beginning. After that, my videos run uninterrupted. It's one of the reasons YouTube keeps me down in the algorithm, because they're not making money off me. And I'm deliberately not making as much money as I could. I work too hard on my videos. I'm proud of them. So that when you watch them, I want you to be able to watch the whole experience that I created, no matter how long or short. I don't like having my work interrupted. So a lot of people don't remember that. They've kind of taken it for granted that every channel's doing that and mine doesn't. And so sometimes they get mad at me, and then about something I said in a video or whatever, and then I point out to them, well, I don't actually put ads, mid-roll ads in my videos. Like right now, if you went and started the 4-hour Indiana Jones 5 review or the 3.5-hour Rogue One review, after you skipped the ad at the beginning, which, by the way, we have no control over how YouTube sets those up. So sometimes they make you skip 2 5-second ones, and sometimes they, either way, what I'm saying is I only allow them to do what they're going to do at the beginning. I still have control over that. Once you start that video, if it's an hour long on my channel, or 45 minutes, or 3.5 hours, or 4 hours, once that video started and you're past that ad, if you don't turn YouTube off and come back to it later, in other words, if you let it run the whole time, it will not play an ad. And that's like that for every video on my channel, every single one. And it's been that way the entire time. And I have fought my own inner circle about that at times. So, wow. I don't know. It's a good question. let's make that happen. Hit me up on either email on Gmail, or hit me up in the DMs on Patreon, or wherever you are right now. Hit me up, because I can't remember where to get to you, Prime, and because we need to sit down and have a venting session. As someone who's collecting the Studio Series 86 line, if Hasbro does release Unicron at retail, it better be when my taxes come in, because I'll buy them and I won't care who objects to it. Did Tony ever return BV's arms? Yeah, they are returned. Yep, they're here. No Impossible Pie, I wasn't. I was glad they got released for people because they were so high priced secondhand. So I'm glad that they got released, but they weren't something that interested me. But I am glad they got released. Thank you for doing that video on Shark, Michael. It's encouraging to see the bad actors in the space getting called out. Hopefully the Godzilla fandom will follow suit and do some housekeeping too. Well, the sad part is, as much as I wish that would be, housekeeping, there's too many people that follow him that will never see that video that I did. And I only did the video because several years ago, another guy actually called him out on the video clips with him trying to solicit, payments from kids and stuff like that. But he was a smaller channel that wasn't even into toys. He was just like an A-logger. And so it never really went anywhere. Shartimus kept getting like a get out of jail free card. But then after the crap that he pulled with me, which I kept in my back pocket because I recorded it, and then what he started doing at San Diego Comic-Con and some of these other toy shows to people, I finally just had it. I was just like, no, we're not doing this. I'm gonna say my piece. Michael, have you seen the latest news regarding Amazon's Tomb Raider show? Sophie Turner's official. Yeah, I've seen it. When it gets in front of a camera, because they say they're going to start filming sometime in 2026. If it ever gets in front of a camera, then we can have a discussion. But right now, Hey, Michael, I was wondering what leather jacket you recommend for Indiana Jones style for daily life. If you're talking daily life, you're going to want something that's cowhide or heavy stock. The leather that the Indiana Jones jackets were made from to stay cooler in the deserts and the jungle, the leather it's not really meant for a lot of rugged use. Like it's actually more of a luxury grade leather, like a fine clothing leather than a knockaround leather. So my main, I have two jackets that are made in that leather. One I don't even wear anymore because it was very incorrect. I keep another one around when I do conventions and stuff. But then I've got a really, really nice tailored Indiana Jones jacket for daily wear from Magnoli Clothiers, and I had him do that in a heavy cowhide because it was replacing the jacket that I'd worn for 30 years that wasn't an Indiana Jones jacket. And it had finally given up the ghost, and I retired it to my closet. But I've also ordered another cowhide jacket from him as well, that I'm hoping will supplement that other one, just to have two on hand, just to have options. So that would be my thing: cowhide, goat hide. Some people talk about horsehide, and some people spring for kangaroo hide jackets. I wouldn't go that far. Cowhide and goat hide are going to be your two toughest yet most affordable. They're not going to drape like the ones in the movies do, but I don't really care about that because I'm using the jacket. Like I'm not wearing it as a costume. And the jacket in the movie is supposed to be representing a tough, rugged jacket. It's an illusion, but that's what it's supposed to be representing. So in my mind, I prefer the heavier weight leathers. So I've been watching all your vids, but keep missing you live. Did you pick up Magnoli's short round hat? Not yet. I plan to. I just haven't done it yet. I've been saving for kind of a thing, but I've been, as a matter of fact, the thing I'm trying to save up for, I had to make a big order with Magnoli for that. So I've ordered a bunch of shirts and like a dinner sport coat and stuff like that from him. So I'm still constantly in communication with Magnoli, but yes, I want to get that hat bad. Let's see. What is up, Zocab? Good to see you, sir. Having internet trouble tonight? We're over social media fandoms and pop culture. That's what we're over. We're over it. We're over the way people behave. We're over the way, you know, they all act like jerks while saying all they want is positivity. That's what we're over. I'm learning Arabic right now because of Indiana Jones. I've been learning Japanese because of Indiana Jones. I get it. Let's see. Okay, I'd put the OG-14 in a lot or cell shooter. Okay, cool. Thanks for the info. I'll do that. Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, Brappy Hour. Thank you for the super chat. Have you watched the Overlord anime? Cheers. I haven't. I might be conflating the name of that one with another one, but I haven't watched that one. So I'll look it up. Indiana Jones helped get kids into archaeology like Star Trek got kids interested in space. Exactly. My other hobby is collecting vinyl, Beatles. Oh gosh. I can only imagine, Prime. I can only imagine. Do you have a suggestion to get someone into anime? Well, it depends on what you like in real entertainment. Do you like comedy? Do you like drama? Do you like science fiction? Do you like action adventure? Do you like fantasy? Anime is just a medium to deliver on all those genres. Do you like watching television series or do you like watching just a movie? That's also a question that's worth asking a person. I grew up watching some anime that was in front of me that I didn't know was anime, like Voltron was Beast King Golion, and Robotech was actually Super Dimension Fortress Macross. Then in the 90s, anime was more transparent. So I was watching Akira and Ghost in the Shell and Ninja Scroll. Excuse me. And then, you know, I kind of lost touch with it for a while. And then I came back around last few years and started watching it again. And I got caught up watching, you know, television shows like Rascal Does Not Dream, which is kind of like, you know, sort of like a diet Twilight Zone kind of thing. I found that really interesting. I liked its slower pace. I liked its more sort of reflective kind of, you know, story tone and delivery. But then I liked other stuff that was fantasy based, both serious and not, you know, like whether you're talking about Goblin Slayer versus Konosuba, you know, really enjoyed the comedy stuff a lot, like Akiba Maid War and Uzaki-chan Just Wants to Hang Out, you know, stuff like that. Haganai being my, you know, Haganai is the one that I can't quit you, you know, that's Haganai for me. So it all depends on what you like, you know. You can tell your friend that I really don't give a shit. And I don't really care to be told that. Like, I'm glad that you think it's funny, I guess. I would say that the laughing, crying emoji needs to get yeeted into a volcano at this point because it's the harbinger of the internet douchebag. But I'm glad that you like my videos. Thanks for being here. Dude, I'm fast approaching it. My friend. If I can just get past some of these other videos. Since Aliens is kind of making a comeback, I mean, maybe. What's the demand for it is my question. Meaning the toys. I was amazed Alien Earth got that metal grate floor from Elstree Studios as seen in the Millennium Falcon. Yeah, that's good set design. Holy crap, Zocab. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. That is too kind. Wanted to make sure I supported you. Glad I made it onto the live stream, but mostly for another bump for Iron Eagle versus Top Gun. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, know what I mean. Well, there's the thumbnail for it, sir. Let me get this out of the way so you can enjoy it. It is on its way. It is being scripted. It is coming soon. Got to get through, one or two more videos first, but this one's going to be probably a larger, video. So just stay tuned. I promise you won't be disappointed. Promise. I'm glad to hear that, Moon Knight. I'm really glad to hear that. Yep, Wolfwood, I do too. And so does Pepperidge Farm. Yes, Michael, I agree, but I'm telling you, I was interrupted twice before I switched to the Fire Stick. I think YouTube is doing something. I also misspoke, was my iPod, not iPhone. Well, I'm sorry if they did that on my videos. They shouldn't be. It shouldn't be happening. And there would be no switch I could pull to fix that. It sounds to me like they're pulling some kind of shenanigans, but it's not on my end. I wouldn't do that. I was talking to my wife about that with my wife the other day. When we watched TV, we had commercial breaks. They were on purpose. Now it's in the middle of a sentence and we'll go for a full minute. Yeah, exactly. Also, YouTube has been adding to those mid-roll ads once the video is up without telling the creators. Oh, no, I won't let that happen. Good to know. YouTube is always looking for ways to strangle its gold. Yeah, they really do. I appreciate that, Ra. Appreciate that a lot. I think RetroBlasting is the only channel I regularly watch that only puts an ad in the beginning of the vid. Yeah, and when you're not thinking about it, you don't realize how many channels are not doing it, which are none. You just assume that RetroBlasting is doing it like everybody else because we've gotten used to it. But I have not. I have not done that. I will definitely try to if and when they get announced. I mean, I know they're announced, but you know what I'm saying. I had the iPod running because I was fixing my security camera setup, but after 2 ads, I switched to the Fire Stick. That is bizarre. Oh, Michael, watch your channel for years. Thank you, Barnabas. Always appreciate your input, intelligence, and honesty. You're welcome. Makes me stay interested in the collecting hobby. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'll keep putting out those kind of videos. Yeah, he actually did that. Amazing, isn't it? Love your avatar, by the way. I need to watch this show from the beginning later on. I find Michael to be very entertaining. Well, you're welcome, Joseph. Real is always more entertaining than fake. Any advice for finding any in-person collector groups or just fans of kid properties? I unfortunately don't have much in the way of friends. I can just shoot the bull about this stuff. I mean, you're going to have to go with like Facebook groups and stuff, Paul. And unfortunately, it's gonna be hit and miss. You're gonna run into just, can you weather people's BS? Can you weather their bad behavior? If you can, then maybe you'll find value in those groups. But you're talking about in person. Well, what I would say is you got to go to local toy shows and connect with people there, because then they'll kind of tell you if there are local swap meets and clubs and stuff. That's how you'd find that out. You go to your local toy shows or find a regional toy group on social media that's near you. That's how I do it. One annoying thing YouTube likes to do is play an ad in the middle, but the ad is actually someone's 3 minute. Yeah, exactly. I wonder if Sean Levy and Disney will rip off the Rogue One novels for Starfighter. Yeah, I bet you they might. That this would be the opportunity to do so, since Rogue Squadron is apparently never coming out, and they'll probably do it poorly. So, no problem, Wolfwood. You are welcome. Indiana Jones was one facet of me learning to love history. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I started with Rosetta Stone for Arabic. Japanese, I'm just picking up by watching anime in its original language. I'm not conversational, but I know a lot of different words and phrases now, just from osmosis. But I will eventually try and formally train. With Arabic, I tried with Rosetta Stone at first, and it was like I understood what it was doing, but it's not actually very effective. So I'm going to switch over and try Pimsleur. I've heard Pimsleur's very good. I just have to get on it and do it. I just haven't because of DragonCon and other things that I've been doing lately. Well, Vicious, unfortunately, two things happened. One, the pandemic lifted, and so people didn't want to hang out on Saturdays anymore. And two, because everybody was trapped in their homes, all these people started becoming toy collectors and then starting live stream channels and then doing things on Saturday because they saw what I was doing. So the audience got pulled away and fragmented in like 200 different directions. So there was really no point in doing the Saturday live stream anymore. What? I mean, what? Of course we're together. Look what I just talked about in this live stream. She and Conrad are working on a project together that's going to be coming out soon. What the? I almost forgot to ask if you've seen the Brick Build SDF 1 yet. I have not, Ragamuffin. I have not. But I imagine it's pretty big. Well, I collected Britain's Knights back when I lived in England, and I had a big bucket of them. And unfortunately, my brother ended up with them, and then he gave them to his kid without me even knowing they were still in our possession as a family. So what I would recommend is that you go watch Analog Toys video about Britain's that he did, which is it's one of the best toy videos I've ever seen, and it will definitely give you your Britain's toy fix. Let's see. You are welcome, Forge. You are welcome. Yeah, Ghost in the Shell is prophetic. It is prophetic. I appreciate you saying that, Akira. That is absolutely true and verifiable. It is objectively and quantifiably verifiable. Yeah, right? Yeah. Do you have an opinion on pre-distressed Indiana Jones jackets? For instance, the Steel and Jones. I don't know why people need to pre-distress, because when you wear your jackets like all the time as clothing, they get beat up in pretty short order. So, in fact, the only jacket that won't happen to is an original Tony Nowak Crystal Skull jacket, the guy that made them for the movies. That jacket is, by and large, bulletproof. But most of your jackets will distress pretty quickly, even if they're still totally functional. You just got to actually wear them instead of trying to play pretend all the time. So I buy clean, and then they just get beaten up. Oh, you're welcome, Russell. Thank you for the kind words. I don't know anything about it, so I can't really say anything about it at this point. I hope it's good. I never want a movie to be bad. I hope it's good. The Iron Eagle Top Gun thumbnail looks like Ted Cassidy should be talking about how Tom Cruise becomes Jason Gedrick when he becomes... You won't like me when I'm angry. Oh, good to know, Wolfwood. Thank you. I got a pre-owned Panache Place Voltron with the green lion missing the other day. Makes a great display piece. Wish I had the green lion. Well, you can get green lions pretty easily, can't you? Does it have all the parts? Does the rest of it have all the canopies and stuff? Yeah, there are plans for more war stories. There are. If new toys are expensive because of modern engineering, how come the retro reissues are the same price? Yeah, exactly, because the toy companies are just gouging us at this point. Off topic, but is Melinda taking a break from Dreamland? She and Conrad were a great combo. No, they're doing a project right now together. they're doing a project. It's not Dreamland, but it is a big sort of like comedy project together. So that she's been editing it for months. She and Conrad both have been editing it for months. Hi, Michael. Do you think there's any chance Hasbro will reprise? I wish, but I don't know. Hasbro doesn't really reach out for licenses that they don't think are that presently viable. I'm the most active Motu customizer in my group. Anytime you say anything bad about the new toy line and everyone throws a fit. Yeah, it's pathetic, isn't it? I'm over fandoms myself. Reminds me of when I joined Don Murphy's fan page pre-Transformers live action movie, and that was a constant struggle. Yes men everywhere. Everywhere. Yep. Let's see. Oh, good. Glad to hear that. Can you believe? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I try and keep things moving on this one. That's another thing. The other problem is that when we did the Saturday live streams, there weren't as many videos coming out as often. And so people started saying, well, how come your videos aren't coming out as often? Well, it's because the entire studio was always set up and wrecked with all these cables being strewn everywhere to do the Saturday live stream. So I could never film anywhere. So if I wanted to do normal videos, I had to practically tear down everything that I set up for the live streams. It was bedlam. Oh, well, that's good, Joe. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, I won't quit after that comment. I told Tony years ago, and Tony's repeated it in other videos he's done. It doesn't matter what they throw at me. I will be the last man standing. I've had people tell me up and down over the years, including these real snotbag elite vintage Star Wars collectors. Like, there's this asshole that is, he has the Guinness Book of World Records for the most Darth Vader merchandise. That's a Guinness Book of World Records you apply to yourself, like the kid in the back of the class trying to be teacher's pet. Pick me, pick me. That guy told me to my face, I say to my face directly in real time on social media, on my personal Facebook page, he told me that whatever my little podcast was that I do, I will eventually, inevitably walk away from it and quit. And he goes, and then no one will remember you because your voice has no value. He's like, you are, and he said, you are worthless and nobody will remember you after you leave YouTube, and you will leave. That's how arrogant these people are. And he led into that conversation with, well, you may have heard of me. I do have quite a big Darth Vader collection. And he's some douchebag from California. Wears the Oakley sunglasses and shit. Like, I was like, I don't know who you are, and I don't really care. Like, what does your Darth Vader collection have to do with anything going on with these anti-repro people? This is insane. Those guys, they don't earn any of my respect. Michael, hope you're having a good night. Love watching your videos from England. Thank you, Jake, and I'm jealous of where you are. You're one of the best toy YouTubers out there. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I'd like to think so. I've watched Cowboy Bebop. I own that. Do you get to a point where people in your work life day job begin to come across your YouTube videos? Well, I did when I was working a day job, because I worked a day job, a full-time career for the first 7 years of this channel. And then after going through and working for 2 Fortune 100 companies in international PR or whatever, I finally got assigned to a manager that I couldn't stand, and I survived her for 2 years. And by that point, the channel had picked up just enough steam, and Melinda's always been more successful than me. as far as the traditional job, because she's like a nurse and she's really smart. She told me, she's like, you just need to walk away from this and try to do the channel. So I've been doing the channel full time since August of 2019. And a lot of people are surprised to hear that, because when they do, they go, well, your channel, I mean, I've had people say this. They're like, you have? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, I didn't know that. I'm like, that's the whole point. And they're like, what do you mean? And I said, because I didn't change anything. Like, I didn't start doing my channel full time and immediately start putting mid-roll ads in and start doing the whole hit that bell and smash that like button. And, oh, before we get started on this, let me tell you about the awesomest manscaper on the market. You know, like, I didn't do any of that, because that's what most YouTubers have to do to survive. And so this has all been, RetroBlasting is a grand experiment. It's an experiment in, can you do content creation on the internet honestly and with as little shameless and disingenuous impact to the individual viewer as possible? Can you respect yourself and your audience and still make it? And obviously, when I say respect, I mean respect with not putting in mid-roll ads, not annoying you within paid promotions and all that kind of stuff. If you're an asshole to me in the comments, I will not respect you in kind, and I will shred you verbally. But that is also a differentiator, because most of the YouTube channels that are full-time YouTuber, blah, 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 they also will kiss everybody's ass in the comments. It's that whole getting along with everyone. It's the whole thing that Scottish poet Charles Mackay so eloquently said is a poor boast. And it is. So this is like a big experiment. Can RetroBlasting survive all this bullshit? And can we keep going the way we always have? And can the audience still have that same experience and look back and go, wow, I've been getting that same experience the whole time and never knew that Mike jumped ship and became a full-timer back in 2019. So most people, they're shocked to hear that. And I wasn't keeping it a secret to try and hide from anybody. I was keeping it close to the chest because I knew nothing on the channel was going to change. And it didn't. I would say most of your videos are both, you'd be just as happy to pick out an error or yeah, exactly. I like analyzing that kind of stuff. Yeah. It does. Someone who just started watching this channel a few months back, and someone in my 40s, this is a nice break from the usual. Everything is great. The research you do, it's appreciated. You're very welcome, Rodcast, and thank you for subscribing and joining the channel. I really appreciate that. And thanks for being here tonight, really. Glad you're here. Glad you're with us. I did see that. Yeah, the one that's doing like the vinyl row beast or whatever it is. I know, right? It's like, how can we even have an assessment of it, you know? I haven't seen the Weapons movie yet. I've heard it's been doing really well. Have you seen the Blokey Star Wars figures? I don't know if it's been out. I just got off work. I haven't seen those. I don't even know what those are. They all have their canopies except the yellow lion. Okay. Well, it shouldn't be too bad to find the green lion. I would say of the two canopies, the yellow one's going to be easier because it has the like cannon on the top, so it makes it bigger, so it's a little harder to lose. The green and red canopies are tough to find separately. Well, don't worry. There's another thing coming from the team that created Dreamland, and you might really enjoy it. So, oh, you're welcome, Godzilla Fan 45. You're welcome. It all depends. I've learned that I have to, like, you know, absence makes the heart grow fonder, because people weren't watching it. They were just all checked out. They just checked out. And so I'm like, all right, fine. All right. You can't, as a YouTuber, especially doing it the way I'm trying to do it, you can't triple down on things that are losing an audience. You've got to move on. People say, oh, you know, keep the pressure on that dam. You only keep the pressure on the dam and wait for those cracks to form if you can see that the audience is stable and slowly growing for whatever project you're trying to do. If it's going the other way, especially after a year, bail. Find something else to do with your channel. Yep. I liked the Blitzway one, and I liked the Sola Chigokin one. I said as much in my videos, but remember, I'm super negative. I have an old anime that is in great condition, but it's in all Japanese and doesn't have subtitles. Seems to be the only copy I can find. I've heard that there are some ways to do fan subs, or sorry, get fan sub files and then marry them to the like right now I can rip a Blu-ray and rip the subtitle file with it and put it in an editor. But there are some people who have created timed subtitle files to drop onto video files that will already be timed up. I guess it just depends on if you can find a fan subtitle file for whatever anime that is. No, sir, I won't. There was the original one. There was the original Albegus toy, but the blue one, the blue of the three is super fragile and brittle and shatters. So they've made some other ones over the years. I think there's another one coming out soon. God knows what the price is and what the tariffs on it will be. Yes, sir. I am. I have seen parts of Spy Family. Yeah, I've seen the first few episodes. So I don't know how to word it, but what's your opinion on media consumption of familiar rebooted franchise without knowing about the source material and the consequences of it in the future? We're living in a time, Brandon, where current youth generations, like that are in their 20s right now, they don't care about anything that happened before they were alive. And they don't really care about learning anything. They are not curious. They are an add to cart, click the mouse generation. So I'm sad to say that all they care about is the current iteration. They really don't care about the original versions at all. And they actually think that the original versions are irrelevant, which is hilarious because without the original versions, they wouldn't have the thing they're watching. Let's see. What dude did I bring up? What dude did I bring up? I've brought up a number of people this evening. I can't remember which one I brought up. Let's see. Oh, I bet you it's it's the Vader guy. Yeah. Aren't all Guinness World Records kind of self-applied? Like, don't you have to call them for? Yes, exactly. You do. You for the most part. I don't know if there's some where they keep track at the Olympics. You know, of like if people break a world record at the Olympics, like maybe Guinness has a team there or something. I would think. But as far as like a lot of these other dumb records, yeah, you're always raising your hand and saying, "Oh, you know, I've collected the most stale popcorn, you know, in the world." You know, like. I had that in my own channel saying my videos, and I replied saying, let's see you try it. It's not as easy as it looks. And after 6 years, I'm still learning. Yeah, exactly. It's not easy. I'm always learning something new. I have heard of this Glitch Productions company, but I don't know much about them. Exactly. I won't leave because they haven't been able to force me out. Like they've tried. They've really tried to make my life a living hell. Do you know they've tried so hard over the years to do this? Former marketing directors at Mattel have tried this. All their acolytes have tried this. They've tried to discredit my knowledge of toys and the toy industry. They've tried to literally character assassinate me on the internet. Like if you go and look in certain internet circles, you will find people spinning the craziest stories about me that I was hated by everybody at university when I went to college. These people never went to college with me and clearly never went to college because they don't know that's not how it works. It's not high school. They say that my father was a super wealthy military officer at the Pentagon. My dad had to be discharged from the draft because they busted his knee playing football in the park like 2 days before he had signed up for the Marines. Like, he's got the scars on his knee to prove it. I mean, it's real bad. And no, my dad is he's like an American who doesn't hate his country. He was going to go, and it was just terrible luck. He's been bummed about it his whole life, but he's never been in the military. And so they said that, like, my father was this high-ranking military official at the Pentagon who was like a multi-millionaire. And so my dad bought me a mansion. And then it gets weirder and it gets worse. Like, they talk about how I'm a serial rapist and how I've like sexually assaulted all these people in my past. Like, but they don't know any people in my past. They're just saying stuff. I've gotten the I'm a white supremacist. I've gotten the pedo. I've gotten all that kind of stuff. And all these other like stories they just make up just to try and keep people from going and subscribing to my channel and watching my videos. And it does work because I've seen the responses to some of this stuff. I had a guy years ago who ran a Star Wars podcast, and he decided to go on Twitter and just talk about how I was this like sympathetic white supremacist and racist over nothing. Like literally when he was finally held to the fire and forced to give the time code for the podcast, everybody who went to the time code was like, yeah, Michael is literally not saying anything and he's not making a sound during this section, which was, it's thin, Riggs, which the person who was talking, it's questionable as to whether or not they were even saying anything offensive anyway. But it wasn't me. And then when that was pointed out to him and for him to rescind the comment, he wouldn't do it. And he tripled down and he said, ready for this? He said, well, his was the only Twitter handle I knew of. So what happens? I have no other choice but to go in and so I don't like doing this, but I got on the phone with the lawyer that helped us get our name and everything copyrighted back in the day. And I had him send this guy, a letter saying, hey, look, this is libel. This is defamation of character. You need to stop what you're doing. Well, this guy ran off and tried to spend credit, tried to spend his points with one of the biggest Star Wars toy collectors in the world to come do an end run in my DMs and try and get me to back off. And I'm like, your friend messed up bad. Your friend is dumb as a shit brick. All right. I'm not budging on this. He's the one that screwed up. He's the one that's going to make the first move. Are you out of your mind? And they eventually capitulated. And I think the guy knew at that point that his friend had messed up, but he was still simping for his friend. Like he'd walked in too strong and then didn't realize that he didn't have all the facts. And so he messed it all up. And so he had to back off and then, go tell his friend, quit this shit, It was crazy. Yeah, it's really annoying, right? Right? I largely share your feelings about modern fandom, often too dumb and simply way too entitled to waste my time with. Yeah, Paul. Yes. I just want to have fun with folks that can operate like a fully reasoned. Yeah, exactly. Mike, you have never been a sellout, never will be. That's the reason why I've been here as long as you have been, bud, and I always enjoy your videos. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. Prime Syndicate, that is too kind. Thank you for the kind super chat all the way from Australia. To the last man standing. I will still be here, even if, as Jason Anderson says, even if by the time I'm here, even if by the time I'm the last man standing, it's like media analysis and anime videos, I will still be here as RetroBlasting. I'm not RetroBlasting, but the banner RetroBlasting will still be on this channel. People confuse that sometimes. They call me RetroBlasting, and it's like, no. RetroBlasting is Tim Ward and Melinda and myself, and it's always been like a group of people. So that was all designed. You know, I don't like those channels where it's like, it's, you know, awesome, you know, Griff, you know, toy channel. It's like, how egotistical is that crap? You know, like I prefer to have a banner where if I had to take time away from the channel for a while, God forbid, you know, if I had a medical emergency or something in my life happened where I had to take a few months off, you know, deal with something, that somebody else could come in and keep making videos and it still be called RetroBlasting. Somebody that gets our vibe, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like Tony, for example, even though he's busy with his own channel, but you get what I'm saying. So like, that was the whole idea. So like, I'm not RetroBlasting. RetroBlasting is the channel that Michael happens to operate under that marquee. I don't sugarcoat a damn thing because nobody ever sugarcoated anything for me. Thanks, KJ. I appreciate that. Thanks, Gamesburger. I appreciate the super chat. Been enjoying this channel for a while. Keep going. I will, sir. And thank you for being here. I don't comment often, but I love your analysis videos. Thank you, Drawn to the Screen. I appreciate that. I watched your Dial of Destiny review several times and loved it. Dude, thank you so much for enjoying what I was doing with that video. I really, really, really appreciate that because people don't understand that we've got to analyze media. We've got to level up. I think the greatest crime that Gen X, my generation, has purported on pop culture is that the writers and the directors are the worst that's ever been. And it's because they all just grew up watching movies. They didn't do anything. They didn't go have real experiences. And then they became insular. And that sucks. And it is a problem with our generation. I cannot imagine what's going to happen when the millennials, which they're starting to ascend into filmmaking as well. I hope by some miracle they're better at it than Gen X has been. Good God. Let's see. I know in 5 years you'll still be here doing the best work. Thanks, Ragamuffin. Dreamland is the only reason I know anything about Cabbage Patch Kids. Dude, it's the only reason I know anything about Cabbage Patch Kids. Dreamland educates me. You can always rely on a RetroBlasting video being well-researched, honest, and I guarantee you'll learn some new things. RetroBlasting does not waste words. That's because you write a script. If you write a script and you don't just do it off the cuff and him and haw, you don't waste the audience's time. And you get a better result from your own expressions at the same time. Apart from Sarah Jane Smith, obviously, Sarah Jane, who's your favorite Doctor Who companion? That would be Donna Noble. I do really love Donna, but I also love Ace, and I like her name is slipping up. John Pertwee's main companion. What was her name? Joe Grant. I love Joe Grant. Yeah, there's a good number of them that I like. From the modern era, I wasn't as big on the whole pawns thing. I thought that got a little quite literally incestuous. I thought that was a little weird. But I liked Karen Gillan as a companion. So yeah, there's a number of them I really like. But Sarah Jane's number one, Donna Noble's number two. Is it fair to say Indy is your favorite pop culture character story of all time, even more than Star Wars? Not that it's a competition. Your love for Indy, I feel, is second to no one. Well, my favorite movie of all time is Lawrence of Arabia, which I probably wouldn't have watched if I hadn't loved Raiders of the Lost Ark. So I would say that, yes, Indiana Jones is probably my favorite character franchise in pop culture. But even with that, I don't think I I'm complicated. So like favorite movie, Lawrence of Arabia. Favorite trilogy as far as the way it was written, like quality of writing, Bourne trilogy. Second place, Lord of the Rings. I see Indiana Jones as chapters that are disparate, and they should be that way. Well, until after Last Crusade, where they started tying them all together too closely. Which is why it's a big factor in why the quality started to go downhill rapidly at that point. But yeah, like Bourne trilogy, Lord of the Rings, and then it's like a toss-up between like Back to the Future and Star Wars original trilogy for which one's next best as a series. Yeah, it's kind of like that. But yeah, Indiana Jones as a character is, if you study him and you get curious about where he came from in a behind the scenes way, you'll learn so much about filmmaking. You'll learn so much about literal history as part of the process. I think you end up learning more about other things through Indiana Jones than you do, say, Luke Skywalker. Because Luke Skywalker, you'll learn about Joseph Campbell. You'll learn about, the hero with 1,000 faces. You'll learn about some mythology, but it doesn't really go beyond that. Indiana Jones goes surprise. It'll take getting interested in Indiana Jones as a character, not just within his own mythology, but it'll teach you about history and it'll teach you about clothing and equipment and the history of different wars, and it'll teach you about the history of filmmaking, and it'll teach you about all these ancient mysteries, and how they're tied to other ancient mysteries. I mean, Indiana Jones is like a gateway drug to this rabbit hole of all these different things that don't just limit themselves to the first part of the 20th century. Indiana Jones will take you way back in history if you follow the breadcrumbs to people like Graham Hancock and other things. I don't, sir. I don't. I did a live stream a while back talking about the English video of it I had as a kid. Would love to see the whole series. I'm sure there's a fan sub out there somewhere. Yeah, we're just sarcastic. That's all we are. You know what I'll probably do? I'll probably change the thumbnail, and I'll do the mystery boxes on the next live stream now that I'm back in the saddle. They'll keep. Also, with the advent of the new Power Rangers Reignition line, that seems to be harkening back to 90s toy line. How would the potential Mighty Morphin Power Ranger video take that into account? It would mention them for sure, but I've collected up too much of the Hasbro Lightning collection at this point to go after the other one. The Playmates thing would be mentioned at the end, but it would be mentioned with imagery. I can't go in and buy a whole new round of toys. And I've heard their quality control is really bad anyway. Any vintage or modern toy lines you feel ended too soon? Well, Robin Hood Prince of Thieves ended too early because they didn't make the right stuff for it. I got to get on that video and do that. Star Wars ended at the right time in the vintage period. I have to concede that. Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark was definitely too truncated and too brief. I really wanted to see Dick Tracy expand out in 1990, but I know I was in the minority on that because not only was the movie a mixed reviewed film, and like I wish there had been a Rocketeer toy line, period. The Shadow toy line was a total misfire. They could have made something really cool out of that, even with the movie being kind of a stinker. The Rocketeer, on the other hand, was a great movie that had no toy lines because Disney doesn't know how to market anything. Vader guy, absolutely. I'm in the minority of 20-somethings who don't care for the originals. I always start with the original when I get into a series. Who do care for the originals. I'm in the minority of 20-somethings who do care. Yeah, I can tell by your avatar. And that's the thing. It's not that it's a blanket statement. It's just generations do get defined by the sort of like general majority behavior and personality, the tenor of that generation. So, like, for example, the greatest generation, which is World War II, they are forever going down in history as the heroes that saved the world. But I know greatest generation people, even those that wore the uniform, that were like child molesters and stuff after they got back from the war. So it's not you can't make a blanket statement about everybody, but people live and die under the reputation that their generation earns. Yes, I have. I have none of those toys, but I have come across multiple police academy headquarters out in the wild. Yes, I have. You would like to see a video about Police Academy. Do you mean the toy line and cartoon, or do you mean the movies? Because I own all the movies on Blu-ray from the UK. I don't have anything from of the cartoon or the toy line. Hi, Michael, first time watcher. Hi, Mr. Stacks. I wanted to hear your thoughts on the 1/12 scale historical vehicles like the Figma Tiger 1. Let me look that up. Figma Tiger 1. Oh, I mean, it looks really impressive. So this is, why is this one? Oh, this is used. Okay. Somebody has taken this Figma Tiger 1 and they've put Girls in Panzer figures in it. So I assume that's not, oh, maybe it is from Girls in Panzer. People keep saying it's a Girls in Panzer. Wow. So they're making Girls in Panzer tank toys that are $400. I mean, it's really cool. It's really neat looking. I don't want to pay that much for it, though. I won't be doing that. I have other things to spend my money on. If it was cheaper and I wasn't having to save all this money for this other thing, I'd totally do it. That's cool. Right? Let's see. All right. Vader reminds me of a guy I met. Vader guy reminds me of a guy I met at a paintball field who said his parents offered him his high-end paintball setup or a car, and he picked the paintball gear. He was bragging. Yeah, he definitely is that type of douche. Share all the lies told about RetroBlasting. I mean, that would be a YouTube project that would go on for a while for sure. Oh, what I'm not going to tell you, because it'll just blow up the whole chat and you guys will get furious, and I understand why. You don't even want to know the things they've said about Melinda. You don't even want to know. So, I mean, it's ugly. Like, it's Kiwi Farms 4chan level dark web ugly, what they've said about Melinda. They say your father was super wealthy military at the Pentagon. Sounds like a Steven Seagal movie. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they are, Dr. Sleep. They really are. Like the whole thing with the guy who started that whole BS about the sail barge thing. I forget the channel's name. Oh, yeah, he made the whole thing up for views. Yeah, and then I showed that email where he confessed to it. But you know what? I had people harassing me for years, and there are still people out there because of that guy's bullshit who believe that I pulled some sort of dumb hoax for clicks with the sail barge. After this stream in the comments a while ago, RB haters will start saying Michael likes Sydney Sweeney's jeans. I can't wait to be a YouTuber. Sounds like the toy space is full of level-headed people. You'll only see this level of level-headed if you just tell the truth. If you lie and hype all the time, you probably won't. That's probably not true. You'll get people who hate you in the other direction. Not as many, I don't think. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Let's see. Wait a second. Last Survivor, something or another. Yeah, Razor Fist was the one. Razor Fist was the one who said the thing that really it was very debatable as to whether or not it was actually an offensive statement. Because there's a very likely possibility that he was being literal based on what was being discussed about toy distribution. So, you know, Zocab, thank you for the super chat. Today I saw Amazing Spider-Man 2 deleted scene where Peter's thought to be dead father shows up at a cemetery, and it's a great scene. Should have stayed in the movie. Fun thing to seek out and discuss. I might have that on my 4K set for that. I've got like the deluxe 4K set of all the Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man 1 through 3 and Amazing 1 and 2 that came out a few years ago. It's out of print now. I'll have to check that out and see, because I'd be interested in seeing that. I actually really like Amazing Spider-Man 2. I know, burn me up. I like a movie a lot of people think sucks. It's good, Rabbitarius. I hope it's good for you too. Yeah, that was what happened. But the funny part was what was being talked about at the time was poor toy distribution of Last Jedi because they weren't selling. And the head of the live stream made the statement that he was seeing piles and piles and piles of them, especially Rose Tico's, show up in grocery stores in big wire baskets at the end of aisles. And Razor Fist then said, if I recall correctly, he said, yeah, and what's really bad is that one of those wire baskets that I saw was actually in the Asian food aisle. Well, based on the discussion, that I don't know Razor Fist, and I had only met him while on that show, and I've never spoken to him really since. That could have been a literal description. It might have been an off-color joke, but it also, in the context of so what I'm saying is, the guy who went out and started calling me racist for that when I wasn't even talking during that segment, he didn't have enough information to definitively say in the context of that conversation if that was a statement meant to be offensive. And he went with it anyway, because that's what they do. I think most people are guilty of this, including me. I watch and love the Invincible show, but I don't have much desire to read the comics versus the show. Okay. I mean, on a level, I get that. Like, if I was to do a review of, say, the 2000s era, the early 2000s era Ninja Turtles animated show, I would not spend any time comparing it to the 1988 show, the long-running 1988 Ninja Turtles show. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't compare it to the Last Mutation or the Next Mutation show. I wouldn't compare it to the CGI movie or the live-action movies. I just wouldn't do it. I would review it on its own merits. Similarly, when it comes to comics versus the show, I remember somebody got way up on, he got like right up in my grill virtually one time, because he got mad because I can't remember what it was I reviewed, but he got mad because I didn't mention the comics. And I said, well, given that the show decided to do its own thing according to the producers, you have to review it on its own merits. Had I read the comics? Yes, absolutely I had in that instance. But I felt no need to compare the two. I felt like I needed to tackle it in its own fishbowl. And he didn't appreciate that answer. He was probably, wanting me to mention everything under the sun about his favorite darling show. That's funny, Bennis. Hello from Canada. Hello, Voice of One. Really appreciate all your content, especially your integrity. You're welcome. Can't wait for Adventure People and Micro Kenner Bespin 3.5. Yeah, always 101. Genius. Thank you. And that a lot of that goes out to Joe as well for being a genius with 3D printing. Someone once sugar-coated something for me. It was comments. Thanks, David. I'm not sure what the good grief is for, but thanks for the support. How do I pull out G1 Megatron's feet? Guys, anybody in the chat that can help him, go for it. I think it's just more of a slide out kind of thing. It kind of slides, if I recall. It's just, they don't pull out really. They just kind of slide out from the grip of the Walther. Scotty, thank you for the kind super chat. I don't get how people's self-image gets so wrapped up in a toy line. If you don't like a toy or a maker or point out a shortfall, they take it as a personal attack on their character. Insanity. Yeah, their personalities are often really wrapped up in this stuff. Like really, really wrapped up in it to an unhealthy degree. They can't laugh about it, but they want everybody to be positive. But they're the ones that start shit. You couldn't make this stuff up. What do you think of Sailor Moon, both versions, anime and live action? I'm only familiar with the anime version, and I haven't really watched it. I'm vaguely aware there was a live action, but I don't know anything about it either. I seriously love the video you made about Rogue One, both of them. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I worked hard on that. Glad you enjoyed it. I assume you mean the long 3.5 hour one, because there was like a 2-parter that I did years ago about the toy line. Huh? What's going on here? What happened? What did I do? What did I do? Did I do something? Huh? What's going on here? Somebody explain this to me, because I don't recall having a problem with David. I did. What happened? What happened? Rodcast, thank you for the super chat. He says, I started collecting Transformers recently. Is there any type of taboo of mixing in third party and Hasbro? I just enjoy the accuracy of the cartoon. No, as a matter of fact, Transformers collectors are rabid for third party. They don't have a problem with it. I'm trying to find out what happened down there. Let me see. What is this thing I've just turned into? I've just tuned into an articulate individual talking directly to the audience in an engaging manner. It'll never catch. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Good to see you, all things 80s. Sail Barge Saga was epic. Tell me about it. Holy crap. Let's see. Yeah, that one's beyond crazy when I heard that. I remember that. Let's see here. That's when I run, Drew. That is exactly when I run. Okay, now. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, there's this great comedian that talks about how the back in the day before the internet, like if you were looking through your blinds and you saw like this twitchy person outside the neighbor's house across the street, you just like call the FBI or whatever, and they would like gather them up and put them back in the house and stuff. But now, because of the internet, those people are just like at keyboards, just being insane. Does that Star Wars guy still around? The one where, yeah, he's still around. I don't have anything to do with him though, and I never did. Let's see. Yeah, that's right. You open the Megatron. Thank you, Lio. You open the Megatron by pushing on his heels. Yep. Let's see. Oh, Lauren Ipsum, thank you for the super chat. Can you believe Lego is still making Star Wars sets? Have you seen the new Death Star revealed for next month? I'm not sure if you pay attention to Lego. I've seen the new Death Star. Everybody's disappointed that it's now just a half sphere, and it's basically just a big minifig dump. I think that means that the original Death Star set is really going to jump up in value, because unlike the Ultimate Millennium Falcon that improved on all the previous Falcons, this one takes a step back from the original Death Star set for sure. It's too bad. Yeah, it's not worth the squeeze. The juice isn't worth the squeeze on that one, Moon Knight. Take it easy, Wolfwood. Thanks for hanging out. Michael, you're about 10 minutes behind in the chat. Whatever Dave's referring to as long pass. I know. I'm sorry. That's why I jumped forward. Let's see. I'm doing okay. Everything's well. Hope everything's well with you, William. What Battle Girl says is truth. Absolutely. Take it easy, Rodcast. I love the architecture sets. We have the Great Pyramid on display in the front room. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'll be buying any more, but I do like them. Let's see. Are you following rumors about a Knight Rider movie reboot cinematic crossover? I have not heard about that, but that sounds like an epic rumor, but I haven't heard anything about it. RetroBlasting Mega Reviews are now one of the summer events we all wait for. Well, okay. So with that, I am hoping that I can get this Top Gun versus Iron Eagle thing out sometime in the fall, so that you can go from the spring Rogue One thing to having a Top Gun Iron Eagle thing in the fall. I hope I can pull that off. I would love to be able to deliver on that. Now, that being said, there are some reviews that I'm working on, that I'm doing, that are kind of, they would be offbeat as far as like you might not recognize what it is, but I promise you, if you like these mega reviews, if you like them, I would say don't miss a single one of them when they finally land, because even if you've never heard of the property, or if you've never heard of the series or the movie or whatever it is, I promise you I'm putting everything I have into these when I make them. I want them to be awesome. So like, for example, this one right here, I'm sure most of you are like, what the hell? I wouldn't be doing a video about this if it wasn't something where I was like, holy crap, I've got to talk about this. So I've got one like that for one of the Tomb Raider movies. And it's not the one you think, it's the recent one, the latest one with Alicia Vikander that came out like 6 years ago. I've got a whole video in development and planning stages about that. And then of course I've got other things people have been asking me to do in that vein. So like for example, my Night Raven's been attached to the ceiling since 2017. Like I've got videos that people have been asking me to do. Obviously, there are people now that want me to talk about the other Indiana Jones movies. I'm hesitant to do that, even though there's plenty to say about some of them, because shockingly, the ones that I think have the least really to discuss at this point are Raiders and Last Crusade. I have a lot that I could say about Crystal Skull, and I have a lot that I could say about Temple of Doom. And I really love Temple of Doom, so don't assume that I'm only about to saying that only the bad ones are the ones I want to talk about. I find Temple of Doom to be amazing. It's second only to Raiders in my estimation. There's a lot I can talk about with that movie. Crystal Skull is a mixed bag, and I could talk about that one too, but I don't really want to do that. People are saying, well, you should talk about the Star Wars movies. And it's like, well, who hasn't already? I don't know if I want to do that. It feels like I'd just be throwing my, even Melinda said one time, she said, well, the only one I'd really want to hear you talk about is The Force Awakens because of my perspective on it. I'm like, well, maybe, I guess, maybe. Thanks for that Rogue One video. You're welcome. Watched it many times. I know it might take a long time, but I'm hoping for an Andor. That's another one. The Andor thing. That's another one that that I've talked about needing to do. Yes. The RetroBlasting Hagenai video will melt faces. I hope so. I'm waiting for that Hussein to come out on disc. Once it comes out on disc, because I don't want to do a review of it without having the footage to work with. So once it comes out on disc, I'll talk about it. But yeah, Mobile, thank you so much for watching that video multiple times. And seriously, people have asked me to follow it up with Andor at some point. I will. I just need a bit of a decompression from Andor Rogue One universe right now. So it's helpful to kind of like, palate cleanse. Did you see a few years ago that Hasbro reissued some of the Tiger? Yes, I did. I didn't buy them up. I didn't need to, but I saw that they reissued them. I played those in the early 90s when they were, at stores, Oh, Filbert, thank you so much for the super chat, man. Sorry for the late follow-up. Was watching a movie. I meant, why didn't you just use the lid of the ectoplasm to cover the camera lens and lift it rather than stick the whole camera? Oh my God, you are really fixated on this, aren't you? The ectoplasm container lid is nowhere near as big as the container for the Cool Whip that the lens can go through. So there would be no way to realistically peel it off and keep the light out before it bleeds in. You want the light to bleed in into the shot. You want to feel like you're inside the container. I get it that you're like fixated on this like continuity thing about like, well, the ecto lid's purple and this lid was white. Well, it was dark when I lifted it up. Dude, I make jokey videos about freaking action figures. I've got an armless Broken Vader that like gives me sass all the time. Why are you fixated on this? I'm really curious and I'm worried about you at the same time. Like, what? Huh? Why are we having this conversation? I'm surprised you have the least beef with the Transformers community versus others. Also, what's your view on Transformers third party versus Star Wars fan figures? Well, Brandon, probably the reason I have the least beef right now with Transformers communities because I don't talk about Transformers all that much. I'd also like to think that Transformers, the Transformers community might be more okay with me because they're okay with repro and knockoff and third party. They actually find those to be, very viable additions to their collections. They don't have the stigma applied to them. So maybe with that comes their ability to be more accepting of criticism of the property. I don't know. That could blow up in my face, but, we will see. Also, beware of the Kylie doll. She's more devious than you think. Yeah. Thank you, Hopkins. That's another one of my favorites was the Wheeljack video. It's weird to think that I made that video like 11 years ago or something crazy like that. It's really weird. Let's see. Well, it looks like I have reached the end of the internet. Wait a minute. Have I reached the end of the internet? I guess I have. Wait. Yeah, I have. Oh gosh. Yeah, I feel old every day. Every day. What's happening to me? Well, 12 O'Clock High is one of my favorite movies. It's probably right up. It's not probably. It's right up there with Lawrence of Arabia. And if you force me to choose, I've watched 12 O'Clock High more than Lawrence of Arabia, simply because Lawrence is so long. But I would say that 12 O'Clock High is like, if Lawrence of Arabia is number 1 for me, 12 O'Clock High is like 1.5, and then something else is number 2. I don't know what that would be at this point. I'm sure Raiders of the Lost Ark would be duking it out with whatever's down there. I absolutely love 12 O'Clock High. Love 12 O'Clock High. We don't care. We know how bad it is. We just love it anyway. Are we talking about Transformers? Crystal Skull was a series of drop balls. In isolation, they would have been fine, but all of them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I'm not as sour about the Marcus gag, simply because there were a lot of bad gags in that movie. It was just one of many. They all annoyed me. So, let's see. Zoomer here. I started reading the 90s X-Wing books recently and fell in love with them. Yeah, aren't they great? Isn't it a shame that Disney's not making movies about those, and that Disney threw them all away and then claimed that, oh, we don't have any comic books or source material to draw from. Take it easy, Maki. You missed about 2 hours and 47 minutes of content, Montenegro. Good luck with that. Yeah, I thought it was way overrated, Ken. That season 2 was overrated. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. I now have 2 Del Carpio whips, and I have my David Morgan. So, yep. I think The Guns of Navarone is a great war film. I don't like it as much as Where Eagles Dare. I don't hate it by any stretch. It is fiction, just like Where Eagles Dare is. I don't have a problem with that. But as 2 fictional things vying for each other's attention, or both vying for my attention, I think Where Eagles Dare kind of wins out. But Guns is a great movie. I have it on 4K in my library. It's a great film. Speaking of World War II media, what's your opinion on the Pacific? Have you read With the Old Breed? I haven't read With the Old Breed. The Pacific was a nice effort, but the whole anthology format of it, which was necessary due to the island hopping to kind of bring the story together, it did, for me, kind of hurt the miniseries format, because you want to follow one group of characters through the whole thing, and they didn't have that option. I love the Battle of Britain film. I love the Battle of Britain. I have a whole library dedicated to Spitfires. I flew in a Spitfire on Battle of Britain Day, September 15th in 2019, on 79th anniversary, for an hour over the channel, over the White Cliffs of Dover, over the English countryside. My flight took place and was scheduled for the exact time the first engagement happened, 11:15 a.m. on Battle of Britain Day. So yeah, I've even used clips from the Battle of Britain movie in my videos. So, you know, I like it a lot. 12 o'clock high is a master. It's a master class. Damn good movie. Yeah, dude, you need to see Where Eagles Dare. Like, get on that shit. That movie is a crowd pleaser. I swear to God, it's the proto action film, like the proto modern action movie. You got to see it, man. I mean, it's when I say modern action film, I think we can all agree that Die Hard and James Bond are not similar, right? So when I tell you action movie, I'm referring to things like Die Hard, right? When I tell you spy movie, I'm referring to things like Bond, okay? This movie is like the proto action film. It's so damn good. Yeah, I know she's the lead in it. I know it's like it's a critically lauded film and everything. I've only seen it the one time. It's not really something that I feel like I need to revisit. I don't have any hatred for it or anything. But I saw it years and years ago. And that was really about it. Some things just kind of happened that way. Do you think Transformers toy-related content is overrated, hence why you don't talk? No, it's not because it's overrated. It's because I don't know as much about Transformers, and I don't have as many. So, like, I have the 1984 art crew in G1 all complete. And then I have a little bit from late 84, early 85. Like, I have all the Dinobots complete. I have Devastator. I have the other Seeker jets from the second wave. I've got the Insecticons, stuff like that. I've got Perceptor and, a few of those other key sort of players from later on. But I don't talk about it as much because I haven't allotted myself the time to really dig into it and do it. And because it's as big as He-Man and G.I. Joe, it's hard to really just say, I'm just going to do a Transformers retrospective. Like, you kind of have to do it in chunks. That's the way I like it. My He-Man stuff, my Star Wars stuff, my G.I. Joe stuff are all done in chunks. Little vignette videos here and there. So, like, Transformers would have to be the same way. That's why I did Wheeljack. That's why I did the video about the Dinobots. That's why I did the video about the Transformers cardboard playset. I find these moments where suddenly it hits me and I go, okay, I can do a video about this aspect of Transformers. We did a DragonCon presentation about Transformers versus GoBots. But beyond that, it's a little harder to wrap around because like take, for example, like say I just did a video and I'm like, I'm doing a video about all the mini cons. And you're like, cool. And I'm like, this is really just going to be a laundry list with maybe a few gags here and there. But so many other people have already done videos about all the mini cons as these informational videos. I keep thinking it's not really worth my time, I did restoration videos on G1 Optimus and G1 Soundwave. So I've given Transformers a lot of different, moments to shine. But I just traditionally don't really circle back around to it. I did do, thanks to Lio Convoy, I did do the Beast Wars reissues. I did that. Yeah. Let's see. Am I complaining again, Chad? I guess that all depends on your point of view. If you are, not you personally, but if the general you is a massive wimp, then I'm sure it sounds like I'm complaining all the time. On the other hand, if you're a confident individual who doesn't get rattled by things easily, you probably hear me and go, I love it when that guy points out bullshit. Yeah, well, I agree, but That's only if the Rogue Squadron movie actually reflects the books, which it probably won't. I got a 10-foot Raiders from him because mine was a 9. And I want the 9. The 9 is my favorite of all my whips. I have a 10-foot Morgan. I now have a 10-foot Del Carpio. I got that from a friend who had it and never really cracked it except to maintain it, and he needed to offload it to buy some other whips. So that's how I got that. But my 9-foot Del Carpio is still my favorite of all time. It's the best compromise between the 10-foot belt hanger and the 8-foot Cairo whip. Let's see. Oh, wow. I did not know that. That's crazy. Movie Oubliette is here. I completely agree with your assessment of the Pacific. If I had to pick on a single protagonist to follow, it would be Eugene Sledge. Joseph Mazzello's performance as Sledge was heartbreaking. Good to know. Good to know. And thanks, Conrad, for chiming in. It was a very hard series to follow because it was so disjointed, both from a character perspective and tonally. It just kept jumping around. Careful about those fascinations that go in that direction, Chris. They eventually can turn very easily into romanticization. Romanticizing is romanticization. Is that even a word? Romanticizing. I know this by hanging out with a lot of the reenactment groups, and you just need to be careful with that. I'm just friendly advice firsthand for many years. Don't let those fascinations make you look back and suddenly realize you've indoctrinated yourself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's one guy that's just knocking it out of the park with that stuff. Where Eagles Dare threads the needle between the two genres, great action set pieces, and you have the suspense of a spy thriller. Yeah, no, it's not that action movies don't have that stuff in it. I mean, even Lethal Weapon has some of that stuff going on in it. I'm just saying that I would never say that, because when some people hear that I say action, Where Eagles Dare was the proto action movie, they say, no, that was James Bond. And I'm like, not really. Not in the way we think of it. Carlos, I was led to believe that you were apparently interested in that Mules van, but I didn't see you buy it. It went to somebody else, and you had plenty of time to pick it up. That's the second time in our relationship that you've expressed heavy interest, allegedly, in an item I was selling and then didn't show up. I have half a mind to put your name on a do not sell to list. Even if you decide you want to offer me 10 grand for something in my collection, I might just withhold it from you out of spite at this point, because you have a terrible habit of telling people that you want to buy stuff from them and then just don't. What is it about you with that? Like, what's the deal there? Where's the damage? What is that? What is that? I don't understand that. Ugh. Otaku America. I love the name. Thank you for the kind super chat. Hi, Mike. Nate here. Being fans and purveyors of all things giant robots and monsters ourselves, what's your quick take on the giant monster and Super Sentai genres? How about the toys? Well, I have Super Sentai Ranger on DVD, and I'm going through that. I have that, and I'm loving it. So I really do love Japanese original Super Sentai. Not so wild about the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers cobbled adaptations of it. As far as giant monsters go, I do love kaiju. Somehow in my childhood, I didn't realize this, but I ended up watching all the Godzilla movies. All the Godzilla movies I encountered were all the ones where he was this like force of nature. I never encountered the ones where he was like fighting Mecha Godzilla, or, you know, had like his little Godzilla child friend or whatever. Like I never had exposure to any of those. I found out about them in, you know, high school and college and stuff. But by that time, my attitude about Godzilla had been kind of set, because I literally saw the original, and then I saw 1985, and then I saw Big Leap, and I saw Godzilla 2000. We won't count the 1998 one. Saw 2000. So every single time, and then I saw Godzilla -1, obviously. So every single time I saw a Godzilla movie, he was like this force of nature. And I know that everybody loves this like Godzilla universe thing, where it's like, hey, you know, like Godzilla, you know, he's like got all these friends like Mothra, and they can fight, you know, the Mecha Godzilla and all those other bad guys. And I was always like, okay, I guess. Like, I don't hate them or anything, but I have no decent frame of reference for them. So I need to educate myself, but you know, romanticization. I do it a lot. Hi, Michael. Hi, Brad. Love your channel. Thank you. Just got on. Has anyone mentioned your Nicole Kidman disease yet? You did. You did. Congratulations. Yeah, Jew Ranger is awesome. Jew Ranger is really, really good. Americanized Super Sentai takes the bump out of the cocaine trip of the OG. Yeah, exactly. And it's not fun without the trip. Bioman is a trip. I think it may be my favorite Super Sentai. I have large sections of the Bioman Chigoken. I just got to finish out some of the parts, but they're so expensive to find, and I'll have to wait on that till after I get done with this latest endeavor. So, let's see. I watched every single Godzilla movie growing up as a kid, and Godzilla 1985, followed by the original from 54. Wow, good deal. Hey, now, someone worked real hard on that 98 Godzilla movie. One. Well, to clarify, I just told Matt I always wanted the van, but I never said I would purchase. Plus, I don't have much Bionic 6, so I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole. It's thin, Riggs. That's thin. It's like a Matrix dodge. I've never seen you not express interest in something as a toy collector. When a toy collector expresses interest like you do and stuff, it means they want it. I got my eye on you, Carlos. Hussein, thank you for the super chat. He says, thanks for answering my last question. You're welcome. Have you done or considered doing a video on retro games like NES Mega Man and their modern toys, Jada, Mario? I haven't considered doing stuff about the toys. I grew up with NES Mega Man, still have it with the box and everything. I could smoke that game. I got really good at it. However, I did a video recently on part of my Nintendo collection from when I was a kid. And my obsession back as a kid with movie tie-in games. You might be interested to watch that one. I also, years and years ago, did a video, a little short video on Faxanadu. It was kind of a comedy piece. Kind of helping somebody out, but then also kind of turning it into a comedy bit. You might like that one too. I'm not opposed to doing more Nintendo game stuff, but it's got to be kind of unique, and because there's so many video game channels now. I mean, jumping into that space is just foolhardy, honestly. Whew, well, I've been going for 3 hours. I didn't realize this took so long. No, sir, they are not far away. They are not far away. How many? Oh, K-Dog is here. Finally, K-Dog's in the house. Now I feel like it's been a complete live stream. How many NES games do you own, Michael? Ballpark. I don't know. 25? I think. Maybe 25. If you go to the Facebook RetroBlasting page and you go into the albums, you can kind of see photos of groupings of them that I did because I kept all the boxes for them and stuff. I don't think I might have taken photos of all of them, but I can't remember. So I think it's about 25. I'm glad to hear that. Yes, I've seen that one, Montenegro. I've seen that one. Yep. That's Xanadu. I leave for a few minutes and then we start talking about the tokusatsu. Yeah, exactly. Quick comment about your earlier point about Indiana Jones fans, indie fans, an entire documentary about a documentary that documented nothing, but not actually a documentary. Yeah, I didn't watch that shit. I didn't watch it. I didn't bother with it. It's like there was that documentary a few years ago, Plastic Crack or whatever it was. That was a bullshit documentary too. It wasn't a documentary at all. It was just a documentary that documented nothing that was valuable to the viewer. So I get it. Greetings from rainy Mexico City. Favorite game console? Oh, geez. How about I just be difficult and say Vectrex is my favorite video game console. Although I do really have warm memories of being impressed by the Super NES. I grew up with the Vectrex and the Nintendo and the Game Boy and the Super NES eventually. And the Super NES was really impressive for what it did. Although I would say probably most of my best gaming experiences and memories are on the original NES. Because I loved Faxanadu and the original Zelda, Mega Man, Willow for NES, the Star Wars and Empire games. Unfortunately, the NES never had a good Indiana Jones game. I owned a few of them, but they never had a good one. Don't feel bad. I have about 90 NES games, but about half of them are crap. No, Xanadu with Olivia Newton-John, roller skates, and Gene Kelly. Thanks for the response. You know, we can help with those Bioman parts. Oh, really? Hope that Chigokin we sent over is holding up to your standards. Yes, I still have. Look. So, okay, I need to show you this, Otaku America. Don't go anywhere because there's a video that's being dedicated to you once it gets done. You need to see this. You need to see this real quick. When you sent that, holy crap, I was so blown away that I said, this gives me what I need to do this. This video is coming. I am actively fixing the subtitles on every episode of this right now because I got a Blu-ray copy of the Japanese DVD transfers. And unfortunately, while the visuals are stellar, the clarity and the resolution are stellar, the subtitles are messed up. So I started working on this the moment that thing showed up in the mail. I couldn't believe what you had sent me. And I'm working on this right now. Also, Godzilla fans, that's not an MP40. That's a Tech 9, I believe. I think that's a Tech 9. I don't think it's an MP40. The nose is too cut off. It's some sort of like Tech 9 style gun. But yeah, so I'm working on this right now, Otaku America, and I can't wait to get it done because It's going to be dedicated to you guys. There's going to be a dedication at the beginning and all that kind of stuff. And it's one of the ones that I really want to finish. And I just got to get a few other videos done first, but it will feature that Chogokin at the end. I'm going to talk about it. So it's my way of reviewing that and also talking about the show and also, letting people know about you guys. So, I hope that you saw that. I hope that you saw that, that thumbnail I just put up, because I really want you guys to be excited for that video as well. Now, let's not get in a fight, everybody. Okay? You might like Nicholas Hammond the best, while I, on the other hand, I'm going to go with the awesome Japanese dirt bike rider who has a giant Sentai Mechabot. All right? You can think small. I'm going to think big. I'm going to think possibilities. Well, that's what I'm talking about, Alexander, is a leopard on Chogokin. That's what I'm talking about. Well, you can say it's an MP40, but I assure you that if you look at the actual gun, because nobody trusts me, even my friends. Let me defend my honor yet again. You're going to tell me that's an MP40? Go ahead. Tell me that's an MP40. I've never seen an MP40 with a barrel like that. Now, if it is some sort of weird MP40 variant, then you've got one on me. But it certainly didn't look like an MP40 to my eye. It had this big flash suppressor on it. It looked like some kind of like variant of the Tech 9 or something like that. I don't know. There's a vintage one? You telling me there's a vintage one? Oh, man. I might ask you to take some really nice photos of it. Looks like a grease gun hooked up with a Tech 9 and had a deformed child. Take it easy, Paul. Yeah, I don't know what the original even looked like. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, the Jumbo Machinder. Okay. Yeah, that would be super, super expensive. Yeah. That's not even on my radar. There ain't no way. All right. Uzi 9mm 40-watt range plasma rifle. All right. That's what I've heard. I heard it did. Yeah. Hello, Schizo Toy Reviews. All right, everyone. Well, thanks everybody for joining me tonight. I know I've kept you here for 3 hours, 15 minutes. Really, really, really appreciate you guys hanging out. The channel is not dead. The channel's been working in the background on the studio to make videos, get produced faster, and make my production workflow more efficient again. So stick with me. More videos are on the way. One's been scripted. You've seen a number of others that are in the hopper. Thanks for supporting this channel. Thanks for having a faith in me. Before we go, let me see. Let's see. That Indy 5 movie review has saved me from watching the film. Was there ever an arcade attached to the Phipps movie theater? As a visitor to Atlanta, I think it's where I saw Empire. I don't know. I didn't live here till starting in 1993 and then off and on since then. Anytime, Matafuko, anytime. Thanks, David. I appreciate that. Everybody, have a great night. Thank you, Moon Knight. I appreciate that. Zantara, let's talk more. We can never talk enough. Let's talk more. Thanks, Wilson. All right, everyone. Have a great night. See you on the next video.